Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, everybody can hear my audio. Didn't do a test today because there's a long story behind. Actually, it's a short story. The people that are doing our app, our engineers, aren't available at the moment. I mean, the app's still firing, the app's still on, but we had to do a little preemptive strategy or strategizing, strategery. Strategery. We had to do a little preemptive strategery here to make sure that the app was firing off and that we were able to get our show on the air via the interwebs and the application of, I guess, mobile listening, if you want to do it that. Anyways, welcome to this show. Stupid introduction by myself, if I do say so myself.
Dude, I was all concerned. I was like, why do I have to be quiet? Like, what's going on? What's so secretive?
Somebody's not available to fire off. Usually we have somebody firing off the app immediately as we go live. Mm-hmm. But our conversations were going to be live and on the app and aired in pre-show because the app was already played and fired off. So that's why I was like, don't talk in pre-show. Yada yada yada. So I wasn't trying to scare you or anything, but I do like seeing your face. I always love seeing like a little bit of the concern on your face because I can assure you that everything.
Yeah, I mean, my face was like I was getting ready to write the note.
I hate leaving people in the dark. I really do. I hate leaving people in the dark, but sometimes it's just easier to not to just say.
I was gonna be like Wags, like
I mean? Yeah.
blink twice if you need help.
No, I was gonna have that too. I was gonna have some like shows or some signs or whatever, some signals, command and signal stuff. Anyways, welcome to the Wagner Wire on this beautiful Sunday morning of February. I believe it's the 18th.
You got it.
What it is? Yay! First try. Didn't even have to go into the calendar here. On February 18th, 2024, year of our Lord. It is Wags and Smash, the Smash Simmons. You can find me on Twitter at Not the Fake Wags. You can find Smash there at the Smash Simmons. As a matter of fact, you can find them on all social media platforms at the Smash Simmons. I'm on the Instagram at the Wagner Wire, and I think TikTok at the Wagner Wire as well. Not the Fake Wags, only and solely for Twitter. We invite you to be a part of the conversation as well. Hit us up on those socials like we just mentioned. Be in this this conversation on YouTube here. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe channel if you haven't done so already. Tell 5 friends like our man Harge likes to say over at the Zone. And also, make sure you're eating your damn Wheaties. Eat your Wheaties. What's up, my guy? How are you? Oh, make sure you're hitting us up on that Coda text line. It is Daytona 500 day, by the way. So make sure you're hitting us up on that Coda text line, 512-222-9328.
Thank you for reminding me.
Today, man. We have Rodney Rodriguez with Revved Up ATX going to be making a little bit of a special presentation, a special show after the Wagner Wire today. So make sure you guys are staying around.
Oh, hell yeah. Double R.
All of your left-handed turns for all the stuff for today, man.
How do you... Let me ask you real quick. How do you feel about the fact that NASCAR has its biggest event at the very beginning of the season? Like, well, yeah, you're still playing for a championship, but
Daytona's in the beginning and in the end.
Oh, I guess that's true. Technically, I guess I was thinking more like Days of Thunder style when the playoffs didn't exist. But you're right.
I love it. I mean, I'm not, an avid NASCAR follower like Rodney. I mean, Rodney's got his foot to the pedal all the time, man. Or I guess pedal to the metal, rather, is the best expression. I mean, I like a few drivers. I have a driver. Martin Truex Jr. is the 19 car, man. That's the guy I root for here. I wish I could say that I was, an avid NASCAR follower for 20 years or so, but I kind of got into it when I was just getting out of high school and then when I was just getting into the military. And then just kind of like phase. I didn't really have an interest in it. Watch Jimmy Johnson, my older brother, or my older cousin, who I call my brother, just because we were raised together. He's a Jeff Gordon fan, and I don't know.
That's why I was going to ask. You didn't get into the Jeff Gordon fandom when he was dominating?
No.
Was it the car? Was it the livery?
I just wasn't. I just couldn't sit still, and I didn't know how in depth and how detailed like NASCAR was, you know what I mean? Like I didn't understand all the rules. I literally thought it was just cars going around a track for an ungodly known amount of time.
Did you at no point ever see Days of Thunder prior to trying to watch NASCAR?
I'm glad I ended up figuring out the rules of NASCAR and like the point system and how the season.
Oh, well, that's completely different.
Well, I mean, to me, because I didn't even think that any type of structure was in place. I just said, all right, well, they're just racing cars. Of course, there's a point system involved for winning races and stuff like that. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together, or
bonus laps.
Yeah, well, I mean, now I think all that stuff is configured now, but I don't know how the scoring.
But from what
I'll have to ask Rodney when Rodney comes on in a couple hours. But
yeah, because from what I've seen, man, like even the NASCAR fans really don't appreciate the playoff system and how they determine their champion. It's something that's been weird, fiddled with too much.
It's weird because I think you got to win. I hate.
You only have to win one to qualify, I believe, in the playoff.
What's the damn?
Because you've had people.
It's not. I can't remember the damn terminology for it. It's driving me nuts. I'm gonna have to ask Rodney for it. This is why I'm not a damn NASCAR guru.
I mean, I tried to get into F1 for a little while.
They take a couple. It's every race. Every race they have four of a break. Like all right, this guy just won this break, so that goes towards playoff points or whatever. I can't remember the damn actual terminology for it though, man. We'll have to. What's up, Mark K? What's up, TX Horns or Texas Horns and everybody else watching the stream? Hopefully everybody's having a great day.
Yeah, at least those verde, man. I mean, like, it's going to be good.
Absolutely nuts. I wish you wouldn't have asked me that. Damn it.
And I'm sorry, man. Right. I was just curious,
Curiosity killed the cat smash. Jesus.
It's just one of those things. I just watch random YouTube videos like all the time instead of television now. And it's just like, oh, it really just feeds my... Because... as a broadcaster, when you're on the air or you're doing games and stuff like that, you sometimes just need random things to talk about just because there's a long pause or it's a slow day and stuff like that. So it's just like...
points. Thank you, Rodney. Stage points.
There you go. Stage points.
Jeez, I was just getting ready to fucking text him too, and he hits me up. That great minds think alike. Thank you.
Oh, well, that means that he's just getting ready
now
for
I don't have to wait 2 hours until we do our crosstalk to find out about stage points. My God, can you believe that? Your mind goes, you know what? That's also me operating on 3 hours of sleep.
Well, yeah, I was like, I get this text, like, I guess I was already asleep, honestly. And then I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh, he sent this like super early in the morning. I was like, either he was watching something or you were playing something.
I was playing a little bit, but I got off around like 12 and I said, you know what? I'm going to get a good night's sleep. Have you seen the American Gladiators documentary?
Oh, no, I've been wanting to, but I'm like, yeah.
Dude, I was
that was my jam, dude. I was always into it.
All right, I found it last night. I said I was going to go to bed early, and then I found American Gladiators, and I said, all right, I'm only going to watch one episode.
Oh, you went through the whole thing?
No, I didn't go through the whole thing, but I ended up falling asleep on like the third episode or whatnot, and next thing I know, I blinked my eyes and it's 5:30. Yeah, dude.
But that means, really cool, man. But that means it sounds like it's like worth my time.
It is so good. Oh my God. So everybody that's watching the show right now, if you're not any familiar with American Gladiators, it was is it a game show?
Yeah, it was technically because you won prizes,
show, right? It's a contest.
It's kind of like almost of like a scaled down Running Man in the sorts, is where it's like two competitors against each other going against these gladiators or these really dominant professionals at these professional athletes. Yeah, in these competitions of skill and sport.
And like Mike Horton was Gemini, and he was a offensive tackle, and I don't know if it was the NFL or CFL, but he played guard.
That type of athlete,
he did a little bit of a tour in the NFL, but he was Gemini, and like he was one of the first original gladiators. They had him on there. Man, it's amazing, like the size that they are now compared to what they were. Like, it's like their body just kind of dwindled away, or their frame just kind of dwindled away.
Steroids helped a lot.
Weird. Well, 100%. But it's so weird. Like he's half the frame of what he was.
Yeah, and age will do that to you too. We tend to shrink.
Sure. You're going to brittle down and shrink down a little bit. I mean, hell, that's what we have to do to fit into the coffin, right? I mean,
it costs on the savings of the space,
100, yeah, 100%. Anyways, man, we got a fun little show lined up for you today. No football, of course, but we got some NFL, rumors or whatnot that we'll talk about. We got some scenarios that we'll mention and go down through. Mentioned on Chaos Theory this past week about a scenario in the draft that we'll talk about here on the Wagner Wire. It involves, the Falcons and the Bears. Oh my, yeah, we'll talk about that. Our guys, like, I know I'm a sci-fi fan. I think I've mentioned this movie a few times, but Dune Part 2 comes out March 1st. Actually,
I thought we were just talking about Zendaya.
It's February 28th, I think technically is when it comes out, but I'll be going to see that the night before, but it does come out for my birthday. And yeah, speaking of which, the premiere of Dune Part 2 was held in London this past week, and Zendaya, is that how you say her damn name? Zendaya?
I believe so. I want to say it's Zendaya or Zendaya.
Roll out one name. You know what I mean? Like, that's like McLovin, that's your name? One name? What are you stealing?
I mean, like a Cher? Yeah,
Like, seriously, like how
Madonna?
How many Sting? There's a few.
Sting, Bono.
Bono, just one. Does Bono have a last name? Yeah, Bono.
I mean, Prince, when he was alive, it was just straight up Prince. And then before it was the artist formerly known as Prince. You could argue that. Trying to think if there's any other popular ones that were just like one named artist. That really. Oh, Falco.
Who?
Falco. He was big in like Germany, but he sings "Putting on the Ritz."
On the Ritz.
Yeah. If you're blue and you don't know where to go, you can go.
Putting on the Ritz. Wait, who was that?
Falco.
That was on like a 1950s thing. You're telling me
it's because it's a remake of a song for the movie Amadeus, and Falco is like this Austrian. He actually is Austrian. Like 80s new wave artist who just happened to get big. Like, he's very popular over there still, but he got big off of that song here. It made the top 100. I don't know if it made number one back in whenever Amadeus was released. And then we just never really heard from him again. But that's Taco. Falco is another person, though.
I was like, what the hell? I'm looking it up. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, there's another one named artist, but Falco is also, I believe, its own artist too. I want to say, unless I'm just thinking of Star Fox, man. It's been a long week. Lots of games this week. College baseball starting, college softball starting, college basketball ending the regular season coming up in the next couple of weeks. And, like you said before, the first post-football week.
Yeah, how are you feeling? Are you going through a little bit of withdrawal?
A little bit, man. I got the shakes,
This is usually where we bring in a lot of our soccer talk and our our.
Oh, and and I'm upset about that because
I was gonna text you while I was watching it yesterday, but I did not. I didn't want to spoil anything, and of course, it was spoiled in the 87th minute anyway.
Oh, that was the best part, man. Rodri always shows up big, and I didn't even get to watch it live.
You knew it was gonna happen. He sent a screamer from like 20 out with 87, and I was getting ready to send you because you know how we flirted with it earlier last week, saying like, "Do you got to bring the man back? Do you got to bring Jose back? Mourinho, is he coming? Do you got to get the hardware?" And I was gonna text you if Chelsea upsetted Man City. I was just like, "Hey, this just in, breaking news. There are rumors that Jose Mourinho actually managed the game from the sidelines because Chelsea was parking the bus for a little bit. Like it almost looked like they were playing Mourinho ball for a little bit for like 10 fucking minutes. That's what it felt like, right? And then all of a sudden, just even when De Bruyne's free kick went from the left corner, when it just went right over the damn goal, I was like, all right, we might actually steal this thing.
It's got so fortunate because Haaland was just so off yesterday. Like, if he had done like one of his typical finishes, that game ends like 2-1, 3-1.
Where is he at? And like,
I don't know, man.
You know this, like, that I'm like, I love this dude. Like, this is probably
who doesn't?
One of my favorite footballers in all of, not just the Premier League, but all of soccer, right? He's Smash. He's got to show up. He does, like, you got to finish. He was making great runs. Clearly he's going to be a distraction on the field, or he's going to draw a lot of attention from the back line or whatnot. But you got to be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
You just wonder
thankfully for Chelsea, they were able to keep it close because that wasn't happening. But hell, for Man City, you thought you were going to let one. Hell, you did let one get away. That's 3 points you should have captured.
Yeah, that was 3 necessary points to stay at the top of the table, and now it's like a 3-way dance to see who's going to win the Premier League right now. It's like City, Arsenal, Liverpool. So, I mean, for the neutral fan, though, this is a great thing to watch because it's not a boring title race. It's not like just one team dominating like it's been, but this is like the chase for City. What is it, 4 out of 5 or something like that? And then trying to defend Champions League. It's like you're trying to fight multiple wars, on different fronts at the same time with the same squad, though. And you're just like packing them all together and flying them to each part and saying like, hey, you got 2 days of rest. Good luck. And hoping that your squad can hold up,
So who's you like Liverpool now to finish out?
Nah, City still, I still feel this is City's like title to lose easily. I mean, Arsenal is going to Arsenal at some point.
City has the best squad. They on paper, they're just. And they're
De Bruyne's back.
They're Barcelona. They are Barcelona of the late 1990s, early 2000s.
And then we had Champions League this week too, and I saw in Champions League, even the best team like Bayern Munich, like who was supposed to be like amazing. Oh, that's right. That was an awesome commercial. That was one of the best ones we've seen.
That was the greatest commercial of the Super Bowl. Probably Tom Brady. Tom Brady's commercial with like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. That was probably
the Dunkin' commercial.
Yeah, the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. This class is pass fail, but it's probably second best.
Did you guys go over all of those things on Chaos Theory like that past Monday?
What's that?
Did you and Rodney talk about all those things on Chaos Theory?
We didn't really hit any commercials. I wouldn't really
pay attention.
It was kind of mid for commercials, wasn't it?
Oh man, I kind of felt like that about like the halftime show and about the commercials for the most part. I can't think of anything super memorable, but maybe because I wasn't paying attention as much, but nothing really stood out. And don't get me wrong, I popped when Ludacris came out because I was talking with Katie about it. I was like, I remember we just like randomly mentioned Ludacris and then it was like, oh, he's there. Yeah, that got me going though. Love Luda.
You felt like it was going to be a little bit of a performance like that. And hell, I guess it was already 2 years ago from when we saw the classic, entourage of Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Coming up upside down, coming back upside down. That's already been 2 years. I thought that was last year, but
me too.
I don't think anything's going to put that performance. I don't think that's going to put that one down. That's going to be the tops for me for a while.
Prince, yeah.
That was a really good one. That's probably top 3 right now. It's Prince.
I remember as a kid though,
and then
when they got Michael Jackson with the rocket pack and stuff.
I can't remember that.
That was like the '92 Super Bowl, dude. That was awesome. Like that's when he was
with the rocket pack.
Yeah, you don't remember that at all?
No.
Oh, dude, yeah.
No, I mean my memory's still intact. I got pretty decent recall from back when I was a kid or whatnot, but I can't remember that. No, I think I was like 4th, 5th grade around 91, 92. Anyways,
sounds about right.
Yeah, a little bit. But we got a scenario to talk about here.
What's the scenario?
What's the scenario?
Nice.
We've been talking a little bit about the Chicago Bears flirting with this number 1 draft pick that they've acquired from the Carolina Panthers last year. What will they do with it? Will they select Caleb Williams? Will they take on a suitor and maybe listen to some deals? Will they feel like maybe the suitor isn't worth it and our guy is Marvin Harrison Jr. instead of Caleb Williams if they feel like they got everything in place or in touch with Justin Fields? They also could, I guess they could elect to keep Justin Fields, which is kind of the route that we'll explore because not a lot of people have been talking about it. What if the Bears have been playing a little bit of coy and, say, all right, Justin Fields is our guy for the future and we'll play for that. There is a scenario, but that all depends on a hypothetical. If someone is willing to jump up and take your number one, and what is the return on investment for that number one this year, which is ultimately Caleb Williams, is what you're playing for, right? So you got to ask yourself some questions. What are some teams that are in a position right now that need a quarterback? That's basically the only piece that they're missing is the quarterback. And is Caleb Williams that piece, that coveted piece that's going to pull everything together like the catalyst that you need it to be, right? Can you get that in 1 year, maybe 2? That's the path that we'll explore right here. But I wanted to get your first initial thoughts on before we even unveil some of the teams.
You're the Jets that try to trade Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think? I don't know if that's. I did explore that scenario. Do you think that's an actual viable solution? Like, do you think the Jets? One, I think the Jets have already made their bet. I think they're so like concrete solidified with their selection with Aaron Rodgers. Like they are going to die on that hill of Aaron Rodgers.
They have no choice now. They set up everything based on Aaron Rodgers being able to mentor the next quarterback to take over. And then when he went down, that didn't happen and just crushed the kid's confidence even more, unfortunately. But, you're thinking about just team and financial constrictions and things like that and what you may have available as into what you would get in return. I mean, shoot, why not? Why not ask for something amazing? Because apparently Fields might be the real deal. But again, it's just all like, how good do you feel about the quarterbacks that are coming into the draft? I think that's my key question. It's just because I like Caleb Williams, but we've seen Heisman Trophy winners fail in the NFL in the past, and the USC quarterbacks as of late haven't had exactly the best road record.
Or I would argue, would maybe Lincoln Riley? You can't say that because Jalen Hurts is doing fantastic. Kyler Murray is still, when he's on the field,
he's a starting quarterback.
When he's on the field, he's making plays, and he is a starting quarterback
in this league for
the
now.
NFL. And regardless of his mentality, or if you're a fan of Kyler Murray or whatnot, you can't deny the fact that when he is on the field, the dude can make some plays. I don't know. So I don't know if the whole USC thing is an actual viable, excuse or thing here, situation. To me, I don't know. It's hard to replace a talent like Caleb Williams. Like it's really like and Jordan said it best. This past week, Jordan Scruggs said it best this past week on It's Only an Hour with Jeff and Jordan. This is the closest thing that we've seen to the next Patrick Mahomes. Like I can't believe we're already saying that there's a prototype out there for Patrick Mahomes when we're trying to replace and trying to find the supplement for the GOAT that just exited stage right not too long ago, right? We've kind of taken the crown and put it on Patrick Mahomes' head from Tom Brady, and now we're saying like this is the closest thing we've got to Patrick Mahomes right now is Caleb Williams. So if you're the Bears, it's got to be hard as hell to pass up on this potential, because that's what this is, potential, right? You're giving up a certainty for an uncertainty if you elect to take Caleb Williams and trade off Justin Fields, right? And we've been beating this scenario up to exhaustion, but there's a lot of avenues that we have to explore, a lot of different ways that you can kind of game theory this until the draft comes about. Smash, what are your one suitor was who so far? The Jets?
I just threw out the Jets there, but honestly, if I'm Chicago, like, to be realistic, though, I was just joking about Aaron Rodgers. I was just all like, the Jets just need a whole lot of help in a whole lot of situations.
You've seen a lot in the news about Pittsburgh lately.
Yeah, I realized that Trubisky got released also from the Steelers as well. I mean, yeah, but
work? Like, does Pittsburgh have the draft capital or draft capital essentially to send over to Chicago in order for them to build, right?
I don't see it. I don't see it. And that because they've had so much success, by making the playoffs consistently with under Tomlin.
Are they truly done with Kenny Pickett? Are they going to say, hey, you know what, it was a damper from Matt Canada, and now we have Arthur Smith in here. Maybe he can help, a quarterback find a little bit of talent or a little bit of moxie and consistency here. I'm not a buyer for Kenny Pickett stock. I'm not. If you're a Steelers fan, I think you missed. I think you got to accept the fact that you missed. Maybe you give him one more year to prove himself, like a lot of Steelers fans are hoping that or thinking that it's going to come to fruition. I'm just not seeing it, man. All in all, they'll probably sit because Pittsburgh just doesn't do. They don't make knee-jerk reactions to bring in a crazy-ass quarterback.
Look, this is what you have to. This is what you got to do, because this is how it's been working in the NFL, and this is how it works for the Kansas City Chiefs, who we just witnessed, just won the Super Bowl yet again. Right? You have to have a quarterback-friendly contract with a talented quarterback, and then be able to build around them. And they haven't done that with Fields.
When you say quarterback-friendly or franchise-friendly, right?
Yeah. And it's a rookie contract.
Do they have? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Does it have to be the rookie contract? Because we talked about this too, right? Like, is the only way that a franchise builds around a quarterback or a team is with a rookie contract? Because I feel like we've seen, I don't know, that's kind of an outlier or an anomaly, right? When Tom Brady just takes a little bit of a pay cut, leaves the New England Patriots, comes into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and just kind of takes over and says, hey, pay this guy, pay that guy, bring this guy in, I'll take a little bit of a pay cut and everybody will be happy. That's kind of an anomaly that usually
that's not going to happen from any player that's in their prime. And then you have to remember, even the Patriots, or any player
that's not in their prime, like any player that's coming right out of college.
Exactly. And you have to remember the Patriots had also kind of set the table with this whole thing being the way that's how you win a Super Bowl in the modern NFL, is that Bledsoe had the big contract, but they let him go, utilize that money on another point. Good morning, Grant. To another point.
How are you doing, Grant?
They take that money, be able to kind of recycle that in to building what was, you have to remember, those Super Bowl championship Patriot teams, while they kind of lacked offensively in certain instances, those defenses were always just like lights out.
That was championship,
and they paid the money to do that when Tom Brady was just under his 7th round rookie contract, and they were able to kind of stretch that until he, had to inevitably be resigned. When you have a quarterback that good that can actually change the game at the NFL level like that, then you can roll with less than stellar talent around them, because they can take mediocre talent and elevate it to great talent for what you're going to need, which is that ultimate run to the Super Bowl. We're going to see how the Kansas City Chiefs kind of handle that now, right? Because Mahomes is eventually going to have to get a new contract, or actually he has to make a contract. How are they going to build around that?
I would think that Mahomes restructures. I think he's got his money. I think he's going to get all of his
money on the back end.
I don't see,
because I
think that he's going to be happy with his State Farm endorsements and all that stuff. I mean, maybe if he wants to continue, he says he wants to chase the goat. He says that the dynasty's just starting, right? Like, that was his words verbatim. Like, the dynasty's like, he was asked if there's a dynasty that is in place for Kansas City, and he goes, "Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it's definitely started." That was his words, right? So
yeah, he just got paid. That's 100%.
Right. If he wants to keep that dynasty going, he is going to have to restructure the contract. It just, you absolutely have to.
Or they just
a franchise-friendly contract in place for your quarterback in order to build around it.
Or they just have to do what they've done so far, and it's just draft really well with the picks that they do get, because I think Rashid Rice is exactly what they needed. After letting Hill walk in free agency those years ago.
Too? Like, they've now gone back-to-back Super Bowls without the fastest wide. I can't call him the best. But he's definitely the fastest.
I mean, he's pretty good, though.
He's top 5. He's pretty damn good.
I would like him on my team. I'm not going to lie.
I would, too. I've also seen scenarios rolled out and we'll get back into...
let me paraphrase that real quick, though, because the reason why I brought up the Chiefs is because that's what Chicago needs to do. I don't know if they can make the right choices, because this franchise hasn't done that here in the recent past, to build around what they have already. It's kind of just not working well as it is. So I'm already thinking, like, hey, you might as well just blow it up, get that rookie-friendly contract if possible. I know you're still going to have to pay the money, but if Caleb Williams really is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, and that's the prototype type of quarterback that you need to win in the NFL, then I think you take a flyer. Your franchise is already kind of, muddling anyways. What do you got to lose?
It's not really a flyer. You're not really taking a flyer on Patrick Mahomes, or not Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get with Caleb Williams, right? Or
that's what everybody's saying, I don't think you are, but
unraveled.
But I'll probably be proven wrong here in a couple of years. That's why I'm not an NFL scout. But then again, not everybody gets it right.
No, I mean, a la case in point, San Francisco. Thinking that they had hit a home run with Trey Lance, and then all of a sudden had, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and he emerged as the starting QB. All right, so here's the scenario.
That still means that they drafted well then.
What? Yeah.
Right? So they still drafted well, but that was still a bad move.
They drafted well, but the evaluation of their 1 through 3, I guess, was a little bit,
just a little off.
But yeah, they got it right. They just didn't get it in order.
In order.
So, and we got Texas baseball that we need to talk about too. I think they're finished. I think this is the last match, the last game of the series with San Diego. I don't know if it was. I think it was a 3-game, not a 4-game.
It usually is 3-game, but I'm not sure if they played a doubleheader yesterday.
But I wasn't sure if they were playing tomorrow too for the holiday or not.
Oh, because it's President's Day.
I don't know if they were rolling out a 4. I don't have the schedule right off the top of my head, but anyways, I'm sure we'll have somebody in the chat fire that off. I'll get you guys that news anyways, but that's on Longhorn Network, the game today at 1 p.m.
President's Day should really just be the day after the Super Bowl.
No, I kind of like it should give us a little bit of the holiday, but they should just go ahead and deem that a holiday anyways.
Yeah, I would like to have 2 holidays.
Super Bowl hangover holiday. We'll call it that. We'll go with that because you should either be hungover from booze or excellent food that you consume.
How has the NFL not pushed for this?
It will happen eventually. Smash.
You really think so? Like you think that corporatized branding will ingrain itself into our culture so far?
Maybe they just leave it onto the CEOs, and the CEOs are just like, hey, you know what? You guys are a fantastic group. I'm here for troop morale on top of the bottom dollar. So for that, and that great reason, enjoy your Super Bowl because we all love troop morale, right? So you put the troop morale. Oh, I almost knocked my Mountain Dew over. You put the troop morale out there, and then hopefully everything starts to flourish with your company or whatnot because you're investing in your troops.
But I'm saying, like, from a cultural standpoint, in in our American society, we're used to this consumerism, right? But I don't know if I can take looking at every calendar and seeing a big NFL mark and it's saying NFL Super Bowl hangover, Monday or whatever, and the NFL branding being an official holiday. That's
you think the world has a problem with America right now in our Western culture?
Well, we still haven't. I'm still waiting for McDonald's to have McDonald's Day or whatever, where it actually buys a day on the calendar.
McDonald's is bigger in Europe than it is in America now.
No, I believe.
I'll stand. Of course, McDonald's is one of the staples here, but I would venture to say that McDonald's is more prevalent in Europe than it is, or competes more in Europe or the rest of the world than it does in America.
Nah, they're still the leading burger chain.
There's too many of them. Competitors in America. Smash.
There's a lot of competitors in America, but they're still the number one just because of the sheer volume of size that they have. Because there's a McDonald's in almost every city, even the smallest towns now.
Yeah, but I feel like America, because of its choice, takes away from the numbers of McDonald's. I feel like the rest of the world only has McDonald's or has more McDonald's than we do because they don't have the, different types of chain restaurants.
There's no, they definitely do.
There's not a Roy Rogers. There's not a Hardee's.
No, but in Asia, you'll still find
there's not a Charlotte. They don't have a Charlotte. What was her last name? Charlotte. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, no, that's Carl's Jr. They don't have a Carl's Jr. You know who I'm talking about? She's fantastic. I can't remember her last name, though. You know what I'm talking about. The Tasty Burgers.
Oh, you're thinking about Paris Hilton?
No.
You're thinking about the model that was working the ads when the burgers were sexy?
You'll know who I'm talking about. I guess Charlotte. I can't remember the damn.
I was going to say, surprisingly, I've actually researched this one, Wags, and I will say though, you can still find Kenny Rogers Roasters in Asia. So the chain still lives.
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
Yeah,
the chicken. How was that thing? Like that's a down home store, right? Like a
no, it was like rotisserie chicken. You know, that was like the what is it?
Go to HEB.
Well, you can now, but it's still not the same, man. The Kenny Rogers is where it was at. You know, apparently, if you lived in the north, you lived in the Northeast.
Boston Market.
Yes. It's okay.
You know what I'm talking about? The food chain called Boston Market.
Oh, dude, I thought it was upscale back in the day, just because it was like. I mean, I feel like it's like going to Texas Honey Ham or something like that. It's kind of like on the same level. Like, I'm expecting to spend that much money.
The North's like version of Texas Honey Ham, I think. What about Burger Street? Jack, where's Burger? What? I gotta look Burger Street up, Jack.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say Japan already has like 2 of its own burger chains, but yes, McDonald's still competes there too.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Japan actually had their own.
Yeah, they have like their own burger wars as it is, like between their own burger chains.
Here I am, narcissistic American self, thinking that McDonald's is the number one factor.
Well, nobody really needs to know this. I just know it to.
I'm just curious. I mean, and you usually have all these worthless. I wouldn't say
exactly. I would say it. Like, why is that the stuff that I retain?
But you have a lot of knowledge up there in that cranium of yours. I just and me too. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of shit that goes up in my head too, but. I wouldn't call it worthless or useless information, but we got a lot of information that's just not relevant to what we talk about.
That I'm willing to share with you. Yeah, I haven't won Jeopardy with it yet, but maybe one of these days when they're looking for like the sports broadcaster edition or something like that. I always wanted to be on Jeopardy, so maybe one of these days. Kind of like Rosie Perez.
Wheel of Fortune is my favorite show.
Oh, it is? Sajak, White?
I say Jeopardy is, but I'm not. All right. So Jeopardy's probably my favorite show, but I'm better at Wheel than I am at Jeopardy.
Oh, I'm horrible at solving the puzzles. So like Jeopardy would be a lot easier for me personally. Also wanted to be on Trivia Pursuit at one time, and then
be an American Gladiator.
Dude, yes, that's what I wanted to do as a kid.
That was the opening conversation of the Wagner Wire this morning. Was American, like me staying up watching this documentary on American Gladiator, and dude. I don't think we realized how big the brand of American Gladiators was in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
and that's what this documentary was about. There was a fucking video game. There was an American Gladiators video game.
I had the toys. I remember. I didn't
even know there were toys.
Yeah, they made. I'm a little younger than Wags, just to paraphrase. Not by many years, but enough to where it's like
a handful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like enough to where I was into Power Rangers and you.
In school, like would I have been a senior while you were a freshman?
Yeah.
Okay.
More than likely, but that's enough to have a couple of like viewing and taste habits gaps.
Right. Right.
And in this case, it was like I'm probably still playing with toys at this age, while you were probably a teenager. I was probably just a little younger, but like. I remember they came out with like these action figures that were like the starting lineup style dolls. Or like, do you remember starting lineup, the posable? Yeah. Okay, so they were kind of built like that, but they were made to like contact. So like you could buy like the little joust set, and it was like Rock'em Sock'em robots, and like they would be moving, trying to hit each other with the joust, and they had like assault where like you would shoot the tennis balls at the competitor, and then they would sell like generic gladiator competitors, one blue, one red. And like they had an Eliminator. I couldn't afford that, but I had like, a couple of the figures. And I had Gemini, and I had like Nitro. And I think I had Thunder. Or was it Malibu?
They had Gemini, Nitro, Lace, and
there was
Zap.
Oh yeah, I remember Zap.
They had Tower on the documentary as well.
Did they get Thunder? The guy, or Malibu, the one with like the blonde hair? Or was he the replacement for Thunder?
I haven't seen Malibu yet. But they mentioned it.
Double D.
What's up, Double D?
You had those toys too. Yeah. So okay, I'm not making it up.
Right now that you might be seeing, different colors and names or whatnot. So we have a subscription based category now for YouTube. So if you want to be members of this channel, you need to subscribe a little bit too. Now with that subscription, you'll get other news, some feelers before the regular crew rank and file of Texas Sports Unfiltered. But we encourage you guys to make sure that you guys are subscribing. I don't believe there's a fee. to subscribe. You just need to subscribe. But anyways, you won't miss out on any of our news, notes, and nuggets and events and announcements or whatnot. But all right, so we've been talking all this about all these theories. We haven't even gotten to the damn main theory of what we were talking about with the NFL here. All right.
Okay.
We mentioned some suitors. We talked about the Jets. We talked about Pittsburgh. And when I say suitors, I'm talking about suitors for the number 1 overall draft pick this year from the Chicago Bears that they acquired from the Carolina Panthers. When we talked about, the exploration of this theory and which teams might be in the process for this, the Atlanta Falcons are the team that really just jumped off the page to me right now. Like, I thought maybe Seattle, because they're looking for a little bit of a quarterback here. They're kind of flailing a little bit with no Geno Smith, and Drew Lock just might not be able to secure the bag enough for Seattle. So I thought that they'd be in the mix to go after a quarterback, or maybe try and trade up to go get Caleb Williams. Or are they in love with allowing Penix Jr. to fall to them in the draft wherever he may fall and go with a hometown hero?
I'm thinking that's what might happen now, Wags, because I believe this past week, like, Geno got like a little extension.
Yeah, he did. He actually got his money too. So
yeah, so he got his money. So good on him.
Kudos to that organization for taking care of your own.
Yeah, for real. So he's going to be there. So he'll be there to mentor whoever they take, and I'm thinking it's going to be Penix, just because like I feel that's a really great setup,
for Penix Jr. to come in there and learn.
But they're going with the new head coach.
Patriots too, don't put him anywhere near the damn Patriots. I thought maybe maybe Washington would be willing to let Daniels either go or May go, but that won't happen. I mean, I thought about that constantly last night. I was like, could they take a chance and allow Penix Jr. to follow them at their next draft choice and kind of shore up a little bit of their needs on defense or on their offensive line, or maybe just a stud that's best available. And at that point, it would be a quarterback, which I don't think, and that's kind of my whole point about this. I don't think that this draft class for the quarterback, like the quarterback draft class of this year, I don't think it's as strong as we're touting it out to be. Like, I think it's the scarcity, which is why we're seeing so many quarterbacks go early than we thought. Like, is there really are there really 3 first round, like top 5 quarterbacks, or is it the fact that there's just a drop off of these 3 to where the next tier is maybe a C tier instead of a B tier? I don't even know if I can put these guys. I can put Caleb Williams in the top tier because I've seen what he can do. But I mean, Drake May, see my guy. Like, I don't know. I say that about Caleb Williams too, but I just know Caleb Williams
said that about Flacco.
An impressive, yeah, exactly. Flacco played at Delaware. He's a blue for crying out loud. I don't know.
And I mean, the best ever wide receiver came from Mississippi State.
Scouts, and everybody's got the intangibles or whatnot, but no one clearly knows until the actual performance gets on the gridiron.
Yeah, look at Brock Purdy. Nobody knows.
Right?
Nobody really knows. Look at Tom Brady. Nobody was ready.
Nobody has a clue. They just pitch you a whole bunch of bullshit, and it's their confidence that wins you over. That's clearly what happens. Anyways, so I'm gonna pitch you some bullshit, Smash. I'm gonna pitch you something. All right.
Okay.
Atlanta Falcons. All right, the Atlanta Falcons are, you could argue, have tremendous talent all around them. Pitts, their tight end, London, their wide receiver, their backfield solidified with Algier and Bijan Robinson. Only thing, their defense is pedestrian. It's so-so. I would argue middle of the pack. I would say it's I would say it's close to the top tier than the bottom tier.
Weren't they decent against the run?
Bottom half for sure for the defense for Atlanta, right?
I swear they were decent against the run.
You got to come in with, you'll have to deal with a new coach, but you'd think that the new coach is going to want his quarterback. Heineke isn't the deal, or isn't the guy, and neither is Ritter. I'm sorry, you missed with Ritter. Ritter will be out of the league within 2 years. Right now, currently, the Atlanta Falcons hold the 8th overall pick in the draft this year. If they're looking to win now, and they really believe that they have the solid core nucleus of tremendous young talent that they're just missing that one spark, that catalyst, which is their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Would you elect to trade Chicago Bears your 8th overall this year and a first next year, which is probably going to be middle of the pack, probably going to be around 15 through 20, right? So it's not going to be a top high-end lottery pick that you would love to have, or lottery pick, a top high-end first overall or first round pick like you would love to have in the NFL. But it's still a first regardless, right? You're not going to give away, you probably wouldn't want to give away a top 10 or a top 5 pick. So with that being around the middle of the pack, 15th, you're willing to let that go, let that separate, and kind of win, I guess, dangle that in front of Chicago's eyes for a little bit more of a fat investment, a fat return, right? So you offer a first next year and your first this year for essentially Caleb Williams this year, right? If you're Chicago, you absolutely have to take that. That is a win-win for Chicago. Chicago keeps Justin Fields. Of course, no one's going to trade for Justin Fields because they don't know how expensive the 5th-year option is going to be. They don't know how expensive the price tag is going to be for Justin Fields, right? I think if you're Chicago, you can convince, Justin Fields that, hey, come back for a franchise-friendly contract here. We'll make things work. We're building around you. We just brought in DJ Moore. We're shoring up, the Sweat's deal that they just acquired from the Commanders, because they got to pay him, or else that move was done for no reason, right? Like, why in the hell did you make a deal for Sweat if you're not willing to re-sign him and pay him?
Yeah, that's
you're middle of the pack, and unless you're willing to make him a cornerstone for your defense and shore up a lot of uncertainties for your defense, that move just didn't make sense. So you'd like to think that the money's going to be there for Sweat.
Are there or no?
You got to, and that's why a lot of people are probably thinking that Williams is the guy and not Fields. But I think you can convince Fields to take a franchise-friendly quarterback to restructure towards the payout towards the latter part of his year. I don't know if he'll do that.
I don't think he'll do that.
You have to convince that. You have to try and convince him, right? You have to try and say, "Hey, we are putting faith in you." But they take that pick. Atlanta takes that pick, they send it to, or they deal it to Chicago. Chicago now has the 8th overall and the 9th overall. All right. With that, you take Odunze. You're not going to get Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Because he's probably going to go 1 through 3, 1 through 4. He's going to he's
easily.
So you get the second best wide, or maybe Neighbors is probably the second best, maybe wide receiver. I don't know. LSU lit it up. They did. Daniels and Neighbors had a pretty impressive year, right? Mm-hmm. But also Odunze was fantastic with Penix Jr. as well. So look at that wide receiver core for Washington. Odunze will be there, I believe. You can also get Alt, right? The tackle from Notre Dame. So there is and you have a first-round draft pick for next year that you're building off of. So to me, the absolute move, Smash, is to, and again, this is hypothetical because this all falls on the fact if Atlanta are suitors for your first-round draft pick, right? If not, you probably got to eat it and either make your tough decision with going with Caleb Williams and shipping out Justin Fields, or taking Marvin Harrison Jr., because you're not going to get a first-round draft pick for a trade straight up with Justin Fields. You will get a first-round investment or a first-round return if you give up the number 1 overall this year, which is Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're trying to say here, but it's just like it's there's just too many moving parts within that deal for that one to hit for me.
Hypothetical, but again, if the Atlanta Falcons do reach out, I think that's the deal that is done, and Chicago pulls the trigger on that.
I just think that everybody else that does have a realistic chance of trading in to get that number 1 pick is pretty scared off about the possibilities anyways, because it just doesn't seem like it is.
Atlanta, you have the pieces to make that's the thing. Like, Atlanta's got the pieces to make the move.
I think Chicago's going to want too much
and not take too much of a step back.
But I mean, if you're Chicago, you're just not going to give it away.
They already have their future solidified, except for their quarterback.
But I think it's going to take more than picks. I think it's going to take a play or two in order to snatch the number 1 pick right now. Because if Caleb Williams is so truly coveted, I mean, you have to make that pick work for you as best as you can. And I'm thinking that maybe Chicago will end up overplaying its hand if that was the scenario that was
playing coy. I think they're playing coy.
I don't think they have a clue what to do right now. And honestly, I think the best decision they can make.
I think this is all hoopla, man. I think they're all trying to create hype so that they can get suitors. That's what I think this is all for.
Oh, you need to though. You definitely need to. That's good.
Right.
That's good bull. Game without the game before the game. But if you're Chicago, honestly, you should just take Caleb Williams.
You'd like to think that. Now, look, let me present this to you as well, right? This is a graph. I hope everybody can see this. We'll go over this a few times, but look towards the bottom of the graph. Now, might be choppy because of the playback with this, but check this little graph out, right? And hopefully it'll reset. But look at the trajectory. Now, what you're watching is the teams, the power ranking systems of the teams going throughout the year.
Yeah.
Now watch the trajectory of the Chicago Bears. Where are they at right here? They're right here, number 25, right? Up, down, up. They're at the bottom of the barrel right now. Now watch this climb towards the end of the year, which makes me seriously. It's almost like, okay, we've done what we know that Fields, when he wants to play, can play, and here's the view. Boom. Chicago starting to climb. That is winning success. All right. That is winning success with your quarterback there, Smash. Now look at Atlanta. All right, Atlanta.
Oh, man, no doubt that Atlanta needs help at quarterback. I just don't think that they're going to put a package good enough together to get Chicago to give up the number 1 pick, because they should just take up Caleb Williams and just
Justin, a first round this year and you swap first rounds this year and you give a first round next year. That is enough for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to want like a middle of the round first round pick. They're going to want something bigger than that, unless they can take that and flip it for something else.
They might. I mean, you might be able to package that, but you're getting a first round on return. Right, you're getting a first round next year on return, and you're getting a first round this year. You're getting 2 number 1 picks, and you're moving back 7 spots.
I know, man, but it's the Bears. It's just like I don't have any confidence in that front office to do what's right with those picks, anyways.
True, they've struggled a little bit in the past with with picks in the front office.
Like Wags, think about it, man. We weren't talking about you. We wouldn't even be discussing this if they didn't have this little run that we're watching here at the very end of the season, because they were atrocious before that.
But because they had this run, because they absolutely had this run, it's the reason why I think that they are in love with Justin Fields.
The only reason they had this run is because Minnesota was banged up when they had to play against them, and they had an easier schedule down the stretch. It's the only reason why I feel that they won. They were able to do this. And I know they had that one upset.
I'm subscribing to the ideology that they're happy and content with the play that they've seen from Justin Fields. They are willing to pay him a somewhat franchise-friendly deal as long as they can acquire the first round pick next year. And they're able to get Adonze and all. They're taking a tackle, that's for sure, to help out whichever quarterback they do elect to go with. But if they take this route, they're able to keep most of their pieces in play, and they don't take any step back with regression, because they will take a step back with Caleb Williams. That absolutely will happen.
Oh, easily. I foresee that happening.
For at least 2-3 years, because it's him. The speed of the NFL is just absolutely 10 times faster than it is with college, with the college speed. It just,
I totally agree with you.
You can't lie to the eye in the sky. It's there.
But if we go back to what we talked about at the very beginning of this whole thing, when we were discussing the Chiefs in this scenario also, where it was like you need that friendly contract in order to build the rest of the team. And while they have good pieces already set, they need a little bit more, and they could spend on that, because now they have to compete with a red-hot Detroit Lions team that got all the way to the NFC Championship, and it looks like they should be built to do so and compete again next year. Yeah, you have the Vikings that are going to have Kirk Cousins coming back, and hopefully a healthy Justin Jefferson.
Even with, I mean, look, we saw the emergence of Addison too, right, with Jefferson. But are Are they happy with their quarterback situation? Is Minnesota a team that maybe look for suitors for that Chicago pick in number 1 overall?
I mean, we discussed it almost.
Put Caleb Williams in a Vikings uniform.
I mean, that would look cool, but do they have any other pieces? I guess they have some people defensively that would be interesting pieces that you could possibly move. I have to look at the contracts. But my thing is, though, there is that, well, we've been saying that Kirk Cousins is, a top-tier NFL quarterback for the last few seasons because the fantasy points are there. He performs well, not well enough to get into the NFC Championship game, but he has the pieces.
I would say that he was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt.
I mean,
that's real. The Vikings were what, 1-4? They started out 1-4, and then Cousins started without Jefferson. Remember, without Jefferson, Cousins was the top quarterback in the NFL for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, he was balling.
He was, and then he lights out.
And then the season-ending injury, and you hope that he can come back from that near 100%.
That was a torn, not a ruptured Achilles, a torn Achilles.
Yeah, and that's where
surgical repair had to happen for him to be able to come back on the field.
Yeah, and it's Achilles. That's a loss of explosion already. Oh, it's tough to say. I have to look that up.
30. He's at least he's in his 30s. I know that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where 35.
35.
I guess you're right. I guess they should be in the market for it. Well, I mean, you can still win we've seen, I don't know, after Tom Brady and modern health.
Hold on, though. It's an Achilles, man. It's an uncertainty.
I know. I mean, but it happened to Kobe in his career, too, and he was able to come back, and still play at an all-star level even later in his career because that's when it happened. So I'm thinking, well, the guy if he's really as good as he is supposed to be, and, I mean, as we've seen, I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers still coming back from the same injury, so it's just kind of I get it. Aaron Rodgers is a higher caliber quarterback when it's all said and done, but in the NFL right now, I'm pretty sure if he was 100% healthy, any team that needed quarterback help would be happy to have Kirk Cousins.
I'm with you. I would take Kirk Cousins any day over Danny Dimes. I saw.
Can you imagine him on the Falcons? He'd do okay.
Would he? Maybe. I think he's a major upgrade from Ritter and Heineke.
Oh, easily. Any quarterback, I think that they'll pull.
I mean, I know I beat up on Daniel Jones a lot, but it's because I'm a suffering Giants fan. But
he hasn't really been that good.
He's been awful, Justin. He has been even worse since he's gotten a contract for $150 million, which, if you're the Giants, you absolutely have to eat this. No team in their right mind is taking on this purse. Now, I don't know the pundit or the analyst that was saying this, but it was just completely absolute batshit. I heard this scenario to where the New York Giants should see if the Cleveland Browns would be willing to trade Deshaun Watson for Daniel Jones. Yeah. One, why would either of these teams flirt with this?
I don't know.
You don't know what the hell Deshaun Watson's going to... You don't even know if Deshaun Watson's going to be able to play anymore with the shoulder. You're just trading trash for trash, essentially, right?
It's just
that maybe Deshaun Watson can get back to the MVP playing days, but
I don't see it happening.
How do you think he's going to respond? The New York media will tear him apart. Oh, Deshaun, how was your tour down in Texas? Welcome to the New York Big Apple. We're going to actually put the limelight on you and give you some tough questions this time. I
still can't believe that.
And I would not want Deshaun Watson as the quarterback for the New York Giants.
I mean, after what's happened in Cleveland, obviously a very Cleveland move, that it was already questioned, why spend all that money?
Does he come back to Cleveland?
I mean,
they're in a situation too where they got to eat that. They got to eat that purse.
I mean, you bring him back because you're paying him the money, and you see if he's finally healthy, and then after this year, you let it go, right? Because
you don't reinvest in that. You don't double down on that.
No, you can't. You can't. It's just it was already tarnished goods as it was with all the media baggage, and we still don't even know Obviously,
we don't know if people got paid off or
like we don't know exactly what happened, or there's going to be further repercussions all of Vince McMahon, years down the line, which it possibly will be. But it was just
not see that coming. I heard. Now I'm reading shit that Stephanie McMahon was involved too.
Oh, I mean, you have to believe that everybody that had power and was in the know had either that or they were put under the jurisdiction of Vince, where it was just like, you can't say anything. Your job depends on it. Your life depends on it. Your money depends on it. It was very much a autocracy.
Hell, if you're Stephanie McMahon, your inheritance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's like your future livelihood. And I guess she saw all this coming beforehand. That's why everybody was like, "Oh, that's why she stepped away from the board when he tried to come back." But
that's gross. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because
and those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about the sexual allegations that are all screaming all over the WWE, in particular Vince McMahon.
Because they don't own the company anymore. They sold to TKO, which also owns UFC and Endeavor, but like the WWE did a terrific job at building itself, like similar to the NFL. Like if you think about professional wrestling in history, they are very good.
It was a brand.
Yeah, like they're very good at being like, this is how, and they build on their history. It's all built on nostalgia. They always throw back. Yeah, and they're very good about that. But it's like, oh, well, with all, they were able to erase Chris Benoit essentially from their history after that terrible murder-suicide, or double murder-suicide because he killed his wife and his kid.
I mean, hell, what about the Berserker? Was not the Berserker, the Bruiser?
Which one?
Brody the Bruiser.
Oh, Bruiser Brody when he was killed in
not
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, thank you.
Yeah,
he was stabbed and murdered in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
or allegedly. I mean, hell.
But I'm saying with the Chris Benoit thing, it was just like, okay, he had that big moment at a WrestleMania, and like they never talk about it. Right. It's like they do everything they can to get around that. Brock Lesnar was brought into this situation too, so they're right now in the midst of trying to erase him from like their recent past history, but he broke the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. So, he's a big part of it.
He's got to be told. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, how do you take, the guy who founded the company, who took the company from small time to market leader and had Hulk Hogan, and then was the main part of the storyline was Stone Cold Steve Austin on screen during the late 90s as the main antagonist. How do you tell the story of the WWE without him? Like, it's impossible to erase him from your history. And it's just like, but they're going to try to get as far away as that from them as possible. But everybody that's working with them now is still kind of connected with him. So it's kind of like, do you just like get a whole new staff? But working with wrestlers in the professional wrestling industry is different than any other industry that I can compare it to because of the type of person you're working with, right. and what it goes through.
Trust is a huge thing, right? Yeah. I mean, it is everywhere, but especially with that, like you want to talk about pulling back the curtain. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of the curtain that you can't pull back for wrestling.
Well, because
you've been involved in it. I haven't. So
I can't imagine going from like town to town handshake deals because you don't have an agent and like wrestling in front of 50 fans every week, and then slowly climbing up the ladder where these independent promoters pay you a little bit more to try and to negotiate a deal with WWE, and hoping to have somebody that's kind of been in your shoes before, right. Instead of just some like suit that's just like, well, right. This is our finance and. So when you get rid of all the wrestling people, it would be just a straight up business, and I don't know how that would function because it's like football. You got football people making football decisions. You want sports entertainment people making those sports entertainment decisions, I suppose. You know how it is.
No, I'm with you, man.
By the way, you were right about the Falcons defense. They were actually pretty good this year.
Yeah, not bad. They were top 10.
I think they were like 12, like just underneath the top 10, but definitely not bad. At least like total defense, rushing, passing yards.
I think the pieces are in place. I think all Atlanta has to do is actually pull the trigger and make the move to go acquire the first round overall and take Caleb Williams. And then the Bears will be happy. The Bears will get their offensive tackle. They'll get their offensive weapon with a wide receiver. And then they'll also have a future draft pick or future first rounder that they can acquire from Atlanta, and then have 2 draft picks or 2 first rounders for next year. It is the absolute best move for the Bears. And they got it. I mean, you know what you have with Fields. Like, the dude can win. All right, the dude can absolutely ball out and win. You just got to put some pieces around him, man. I became a buyer in Fields, man. I'm a big believer in Fields, and this is coming from a guy that has him on his fantasy team that was trying to get rid of him last year because it was in complete disarray and you didn't know what you were going to get. But towards the latter of the season last year, he started seeing trends up. And he saw hard trends. We just showed you those trends for the Bears in the latter portion of the season, right? To me, that is telling the front office, it's telling of the front office to sit here and say, all right, we have our quarterback. Because why wouldn't they just tank? Seriously, like, why wouldn't they keep Fields out, put in somebody else, and tank? Unless they were trying to get Fields' value up for a trade.
That was just it, Wags, and that's where I was just about to get at. They wanted to.
They need a first, Smash. That's the thing. Here's the big underlier with everything. They need a first round draft pick in return for this thing. They're not going to get a first for Fields. They will get a first for Williams.
I mean,
that's
clear. I know. I see it too, and that's why I'm just like I feel like they're going to be like San Francisco in this situation, and unfortunately have to kind of just eat that pick, and they're just going to have to spend it on Williams as is. I don't think anybody's going to want to touch it because they already know that that Chicago is in a bad situation quarterback wise, because it's all like, do you keep?
That's the thing. Everybody keeps saying they're in a bad situation. I think they're in a good situation, and they're just toying it out to be a bad situation so that you get more suitors. That's what I think's happening.
I mean, I think anybody would love it to be a possible Montana Young situation. You would love to have that type of competitiveness of greatness, backing up one another.
These two will not be on the same roster.
Yeah,
they will not.
That's why I was saying you would love to have it if it was possible, but it's not going to be that case. They're not going to be able to exist on the same team financially, and it just wouldn't work. Especially
you guys wondering, well, why wouldn't the Atlanta Falcons take the bait and trade for Fields? That would be too expensive. That they cannot afford. They can afford draft picks and sending over draft capital to Chicago. They can't afford to buy Fields' contract essentially, or pay for Fields' next contract with the amount of young talent around them, because everybody else is going to need a contract. I mean,
and I'm curious to see what the price.
I've seen people sit there and flirt with the idea of, what about trading Bijan Robinson? One, you wouldn't trade Bijan Robinson, and two, a running back's value, no matter how tremendous and special and magical Bijan Robinson is, the running back's value is just nowhere near of the same type of value that the quarterback's is.
Easily. It's the lowest valued position.
It is. It absolutely is the lowest valued position. Look at
in the modern NFL, yes.
Baltimore is able to do with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill.
I really can't name you NFL running backs like I used to back in the day, just because they're so interchangeable now. And we've already seen teams get bit by signing big money contracts to running backs. And not just recently, it's been like a progressive thing in the last 10 years or so. And I'm not sure if that's just because defenders are bigger, faster, and stronger, or because of the loss of the fullback in most situations. And
I think it is. I think it's the structure of the league. It's just going to a quarterback league, right? Like,
I mean, the rules are friendlier.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Christian, that was like
it's got either the 11 personnel. There's not too many 22 or 21 personnel.
Well, we saw it, and we saw it. Baltimore has like a fullback. We saw it with San Francisco. They have a true fullback too.
In situations, they have.
Yeah, and it was starting to kind of make a little bit of a comeback where teams are starting to consider having a true fullback now for those special situations. And I think you're seeing more teams have success, get to late stage playoff runs. So maybe the fullback might come back in vogue again, but it's still not a money-making position, because that was never a money-making position anyways. The value on it's very low.
What were the last legit
fullbacks.
I knew Lorenzo Neal was
That's
nasty.
exactly who I was thinking of.
Lorenzo Neal was fantastic for LaDainian Tomlinson. Moose Johnson, of course.
Loved Moose.
Lorenzo Neal might have been the last one, right?
Yeah. It was because it was
solid fucking center.
Like, I would say Allstott was the last great running fullback, I feel. Because
Larry Centers was good.
Oh, Larry Centers was nasty.
Larry Centers was fantastic,
but I thought he was just a halfback. I didn't think he was a fullback.
He was a fullback that
converted,
like a fullback that kind of transcended into a running back. But
because I remember
as a fullback,
that's what they tried to do with Jerome Bettis. They tried to make him a fullback, and then because he's so big, but it's like, oh, he's actually a halfback. Got it.
Lorenzo Neal is the one that really comes to mind. I mean, just fucking running. All of a sudden, the bowling ball would hit the line, and then LaDainian Tomlinson would just emerge and start taking off. It's you want to talk about fullbacks, man? Lorenzo Neal.
Vontae Leach and Troy Richard. Vontae Leach.
Leach.
He was nasty.
You looking up all types of fullbacks?
Yeah, I was just seeing.
You're doing that. Let me hit this liner for audiovisual consultation.
You got it.
512-255-8678. That's abconsultations.com. They are the very best in setting the standard in audiovisual automation. They've been doing it for 35 years in the Austin, Central Texas area since 1988, man. Look, they do tremendous work with the Texas Stars and the Texas Stars Foundation as well. They're one hell of a company, not just because they sponsor Texas Sports Unfiltered, but because they do all the little things right. No job's too big, no job's too small for them. They'll come out to your house and walk you through all the process, walk you through all the steps to make sure that you're confident with the system that you have and that you know everything, all the ins and outs and the nooks and crannies. You're going to have the best viewership possible, regardless of the format that you want or the rollout that you want, or the setup with two televisions or 4 televisions. They got you covered, man. You want some arcade units, they got you covered. And also I got that Dream Theater system downstairs that works on that awesome sound system, but it's not like the Sonos sound. You got to get the Sonos sound system too, man. Audiovisual consultations can make that happen for you as well. 512-255-8678. That's avconsultations.com. Smash.
You know how you like to say we learn something every day, and sometimes I'll give you some random information.
I don't have to say that. We really do learn something every day, whether you realize it or not. Your body picks up on a trait.
I asked you about Larry Centers, and it's like, yep, confirmed. I know he was all pro, and I know he was good, but I didn't realize he was like dual fullback because he was the smaller guy because he wasn't a crusher, But they were like, yeah, he was the lead blocker on run downs, but he was so good at catching the ball. He was like
they kept him in the third down back.
Yeah, exactly. He was like the prototype for like today's modern NFL, like the back being able to catch out of the backfield. And it's like, okay, so he had to play every down essentially because he was so good. But he was a smaller guy, so I never equated him as a fullback. But yeah, I guess him and Tony Richardson had a very similar career. Richardson played for the Chiefs, and he was like sometimes the lead back, other times the fullback. So yeah, very, very interesting.
I don't remember Tony Richardson.
He played actually 16 seasons, it says. Yeah, and he was all 2000s, second teamer.
Is Tolbert considered a fullback?
Yeah.
Is Mike Tolbert considered a fullback?
Yes.
Or is he
2
just
All-Pros?
a raper?
No. 2 All-Pros. He was a fullback who would come in on rundowns as a halfback and carry the ball. That's what it says here. He played 10 seasons, 143 games. I mean, he was real effective.
That's a TD rapist.
Good receiver too. That's what also ended up happening.
Out of the back? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you remember Max Strong?
Yeah.
14 seasons. Yeah, he was pretty nasty.
But
same thing.
But nobody jumps off the page to me like Neal, like Lorenzo Neal, and it's probably because of all the success that LaDainian Tomlinson had.
And I think
I remember those two running at the line, Neal knocking somebody down, and Tomlinson being sprung.
Do you remember watching? And yeah, the rankings here has him right behind Moose Johnston at 1 and 2. So we were pretty much dead on when we said fullbacks. We pretty much named like the top 2 right there. Tom Rathman for the 49ers, I guess, considers 1, 2. So he's like number 3 on this list. I don't remember Sam Gash though. Do you remember Sam Gash? Who played for New England?
New England, I do.
Okay, yeah, they have him listed as 4. So
I mean, probably just because he was there for 20 years. With
that's what I'm thinking too. But
or
longevity,
he might have been right before that run, that championship run.
He got 1 Super Bowl ring with the Ravens in 2000. So yeah, he was there right before. He got to 2 Super Bowls, but yeah, he didn't get to win one with them. One with the Ravens afterwards.
All right, let's get nerdy real quick before we get back into sports. You guys know, and this could turn into one hell of a conversation. You guys know how into sci-fi I am. You guys know that I'm a video game guy.
College football, baby, yeah.
College football is
the return.
And
I'm so excited, dude.
Like, hey, we finally got a date, guys. We finally got a date. If you guys weren't listening to this show, you're foolish, because I've been dropping clues and dropping hints all damn year. I even gave you the fucking date. I even told you when it was coming out. I mean, not like I couldn't do it officially because I didn't have the official date, and I know. But, I mean, you had to know, like, when college football, when the year starts on August 15th, you got to think that it's probably going to roll out a month before because of marketing and promotional stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely.
When is college football being launched? July of this year. We've been saying it all along. Watch the Wagner Wire if you want all the most informative knowledge out there, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's video games, whether it's betting. And by the way, betus.com is one of the best out there. We'll talk to you about them in just a few minutes. Whether it's betting on betus.com, you got to do it with the Wagner Wire here. We give you all the information. Hell, we don't like to talk about the political news, but we're the ones with the best information about the political news. We're giving it to you straight. Both sides suck.
Yeah.
Simple. Both sides suck, and you're being played by both sides. There's your political news, and it's real. We give it to you straight, man. It's like BK used to say, we report, you decide. Huh? You like that one? That's a good one. Anyways, my guy, let's go ahead. What do you got?
Man, sorry. I was just about to tell you, and I lost it too, because I was just because I was thinking
you got that problem. You usually, you're excited and then you lose it, right?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about. I was trying to follow up on something that you're saying, and I'm trying to trace back to where we were going, and I was just all like, it just like, yeah, it was there, and then
excitement doesn't elude you in the bedroom too, Smash.
No, but I was playing this game this weekend as a host, and I had this question, and it was like, if you could pick what superpower, any superpower, what would it be, right? And somebody said super speed, and I was like, oh, and I made the quip.
What about invisibility?
Yeah, invisibility is usually a popular answer too. But when they said super speed, I was like, oh, the power you definitely don't want in the bedroom. And then everybody just started it was it was one of those things where it was kind of a risque joke for that crowd. I wasn't sure if it was going to fly, and it smashed.
I feel like if you say invisibility first off, right off the bat, you're kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I just thought that meant that you're like a voyeur. That was your thing.
Why do you want to be invisible? Do you want to go do bad shit?
I don't know. I mean, if you were
when I think of somebody being invisible, have you ever seen Hollow Man?
Hollow Man.
The movie Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
I remember it.
And Elizabeth
vaguely.
And, with Josh Brolin, as a matter of fact.
Well, damn. All cast here.
Rona Mitra, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin goes into a room of Rona Mitra who's getting undressed, and
I remember the scene.
It's a scene. It's a horrifying scene. Well, she's raped by Kevin Bacon, and essentially she can't see him, so she's just seeing to that extent she might be feeling like she's being possessed by a ghost or whatnot.
That's basically what you go back to every time you think of somebody wants to be invisible.
Yeah, when I think if somebody wants to be invisible, you either want to rob a place or you want to do harm to somebody that can't see you.
See, it's funny you say that. I'm always surprised that we have such different takes on certain things sometimes, because I was thinking
but I look at things as a protector. You got to think about that, right? For a long time,
that's true.
Even to this day, my mindset is we are protecting, we are the protector. I'm not fucking Captain America or anything like that, but I view myself as a protector.
But I mean, you're in the same program as like a Captain America would be in, So
Shit, I'm
yeah,
better than Captain America, baby. I'm a fucking
yeah,
Marine.
yeah, and
The joke. Chill out, Marvel guys. Chill.
wait. I was gonna say you weren't drug enhanced. I don't know what shots they gave you, but I don't think it was steroids or the super
Mountain Dew,
soldier
baby.
serum.
Mountain Dew, the super serum, right there. Anyways, all right, we've been a little bit nerdy. We're going to continue to go down this path of nerdism real quick. Dune Part 2 drops in like 2 weeks. Okay, it comes out. It says March 1st, but you can go see it in the theaters the night before. February 29th or whatnot. There's always that secret viewing, that midnight viewing, right?
It's a leap year this year, so you're right.
It is a leap year this year.
Yep.
Zendaya is one of the stars of the film. Actually, she's got more screen time than she has in Part 2 than she did in Part 1, right? Mm-hmm. And if anybody that knows Frank Herbert's book of Dune, it is a massive, tons of substance in this novel, like this huge novel of, I guess you could probably say it was the predecessor to Star Wars. Like, this is where George Lucas got a lot of his ideas for Star Wars. And you could, if you really do read the book of Dune and you see Star Wars, you'd be like, oh, this dude ripped off a lot of Frank Herbert's ideas. Lucas made a story basically around Dune, bro. I'm not even messing with you.
Easily.
I'm gonna piss Star Wars, fan base off or whatnot, but look, you accept reality. Go read Dune and you'll know what the hell I'm talking about.
But
anyways, Dune's
I totally agree.
One of my favorite stories growing up. I'm glad that my father actually recommended reading the book when I was a kid, and it ended up being one of my favorite stories. To now, fast forward to now, Zendaya is a character in the novel or in the movie, and she's I guess she's dating Tom Hardy. Tom Holland. She's pretty
there you go.
Well known, right? And she's got one name. Like we were talking about, she's got one name. She's got to be a star. If you're not one name, you're a star. She made an appearance in London for Dune Part 2's premiere, in emphatic fashion. Do you want to see her garb? Do you want to see her attire? Did you see this at all, Smash?
Oh, I already seen it.
I've already seen it. I'm trying to figure out if this is the actual. There it is. Boom. Pull up the right window.
I mean, I saw both of them together. I saw that one, and I was like, man, she looks awesome as a robot. You see the backside too.
It doesn't show the back of her, but her ass is present as well. She's got assless robot chaps.
I was gonna say, aren't all chaps assless?
More like a thong, I guess.
Aren't all chaps assless chaps?
They would be assless.
Yeah, because they would just be pants that they had a backside.
Right, pantalone. But yeah.
It had like a little viewing window in the back with like a bubble.
Yeah, very weird get up for this. And at one point, I guess this was my question to you. At one point, are we going way too far with the whole fashion sense? Because you like this look? You think this look is good?
Oh, I thought it was pretty unique because of what they were promoting.
More distracting from the premiere, honestly.
Nah. I thought
I don't know what she was trying to go for. Like the whole.
I don't think it's her idea. This comes from like the Suits and everybody else trying to drum up more attention for the premiere and to sell more tickets. So it achieved exactly what it was supposed to look for.
Law Roach is the stylist for this. Law Roach with the sourced bodysuit from French. Of course, it would be French fashion designer. Yeah, man. Thierry Mugler's 1995 Contour collection.
Yeah, so it would look like a Mugler piece.
So,
because that was that designer's whole thing was about like these futuristic takes on what clothing could conceivably be. But I mean, it's just not necessarily about fashion, but about drumming attention for the premiere. So I think it did its job and it did it well because I mean we're talking about it.
Yeah, well, we're only talking about it because I like Dune, but
no. I think we would have talked about it regardless, just because of that pick, because she looked great in it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, well, I'm not taking that away from her.
Talk about Texas basketball too.
That did not look great.
That did
nowhere near as good as Zendaya in that photo.
We flirted with the disaster, talking about the disaster a little bit
But why harp on it, man? It's not like anybody else didn't struggle in the Big 12 play yesterday.
There was, yeah. I mean, Kansas struggled a little bit, but they were able to right the ship too. Texas is still in. Don't get me wrong. Texas is still in. There's still a basketball team that will be playing in March Madness. They're not going to the NIT. They're actually going to the real tournament. But damn, dude.
You've improved a little bit on where I felt you were. Like
I did. I mean, I've come around a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to beat them up.
Yeah, this is a tournament team.
You're in one hell of a conference. You've been in one hell of a conference.
Yeah.
And the fact that you added Houston and BYU to your conference doesn't.
And BYU lost yesterday.
BYU. I mean, look, it's a team that, and I hate saying this because this is cliche, right? Any team in this conference can win.
But it really is like that this year.
I don't know. West Virginia beat us too. So
yeah, I mean they were neck and neck with their ranked opponent yesterday. So Baylor, right? I believe, and I mean it was a rather close game, high scoring game. But West Virginia is not as good as Baylor. It's just going to happen.
Cryer got going yesterday, and I've been talking about this for weeks now. Once Cryer wakes up and gets out of this shooting funk that he's been in, Houston is just going to absolutely start to roll people. They've been getting their offensive output from Shed, which really isn't their main offensive dude. Like, he's tenacious on defense. You can deem him as a 3-and-D guy, but arguably, like, Shed might win Conference Player of the Year.
He should.
I agree with you. I think
he's the best player that Houston has. He's been he's the best player they have. And if he isn't in the conversation for
demon him that because he's from Manor and I was going with the hometown hero effect.
Nah, man, nah. He's the real deal, dude.
Damn good.
The kid's gonna be playing in the league. He's the real deal.
He's an NBA hooper. 100%.
Yeah, this kid is the real deal. I think he's player of the conference. If not, he should be in discussion for player of the year. Because I mean, Houston's the real deal. They're good, and he's probably the catalyst of why they're so good.
Yeah. He makes so
don't let the hometown stuff fool you.
Sharp can score. I know the backcourt is tremendous here for Houston, but he Shed's the catalyst, right?
Dude, he's so good, Like just the way that he played against Texas back at Moody Center. That's all I needed to see. I was just
Now is he's play up because it is Texas, right? Because everybody does get up for Texas. He's from Austin, and maybe
but I mean,
got a little bit more. Motivation.
But he hasn't dropped off since either, so
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just throwing hypothetical spitballs out there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, also you got Christ. Excuse me for taking the Lord's name in vain on a Sunday, but I mean that's what Houston basketball will do to you. Francis, Roberts, Tugler. I mean they're bigs up front. They're not only dominant and huge, they're fast.
They get out and run.
They're so damn athletic, man. And when you think that you got a shot, they're rotating over. When you think you've beaten your one-on-one, right? They're so quick at their rotation getting over, and they close on you. They close out from the perimeter very well, and they also make it very hard for you to get anything at the damn rim. They contest every shot at the rim, regardless if you beat your man or not. They have help rotating over.
I mean, that's all you can ask for, right?
That's it. Dude,
and they do it well.
Good. And they're not, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, right? 50-50 balls? No, it's Houston's ball. It's literally like whenever there's something up in the air, you like to think that you have a chance to win it. You don't. You just don't. Houston comes down with it because they fight. They're tenacious. They get on the floor and they get after every damn thing. They out-rebound you. They out-hustle you. They get 3 possessions almost every time they go into their half-court set because they get the offensive board. They are – I thought that Kansas, when they went up to Fog Allen and lost to Kansas, I was like, all right. I had a knee-jerk reaction. I was just like, all right, Kansas is probably the best team in the Big 12 right now after seeing what I saw. I can't wait to see the matchup between Houston and Kansas in Houston.
Easily.
It's not as big as Fog Allen, we know that, but damn, the venue fills up, it gets packed, and it's raucous, dude.
Yeah, and let me see this. Let me see this Houston team at home against Kansas, and then I'll really see if Kansas is the real deal, because I know that Houston had its troubles on the road, and obviously they had their troubles here on the road too. So that's just how it is in the Big 12, though. Right now, everybody kind of just struggling on the road. Those home games are super valuable right now, especially as we're nearing the end of the regular season.
Houston and the Longhorns shot pretty much the same from the perimeter there, but look, Longhorns shooting under 40%, inside the arc. That's not going to win you ball games, especially when, Houston's shooting damn near around 50% or whatnot. So almost 10% in differential there between shot percentage. And we know how just dominant Houston can be just in terms of their team speed. Well, I said this going in, even with that team speed, I thought, when I talk about team speed, I guess I'm more talking about their bigs, right? Just in how fast and athletic their bigs can actually be in a half court set. Talking about Houston. That's why I thought it was probably in our best interest, if you're the Longhorns, to keep this a fast-paced game. You would probably keep it a lot closer than a 20-point margin. If you allow Houston to go into their half-court set, I feel like they're going to come out victorious in maxing out on all points as possible in terms of getting 3-point plays. Maybe if it's a 4-point play, getting fouled and having the shot fall from the perimeter or whatnot, Houston is going to beat the hell out of the Longhorns and most teams in any half-court offense right now. The only way that I thought the Longhorns could keep it close was by keeping a fast-paced game, and that just wasn't happening last night.
Yeah, and give credit to Houston for not allowing that to happen also. And I'm just thinking...
They learned from when they were at the mood too, right? Like,
yeah,
Texas tried to dictate that game, and hell, Thompson even made fact that he was aware of it. So I think they had an excellent strategy coming in this time, coming into the game yesterday, just wanting to keep it slow and actually trying to dictate pace, and they did that well.
Yeah, and the big thing also just being like with that, it was just like Houston's just built so well that like they can dominate with almost any style of play. So, you're taking your risk if you get into that track meet, but yeah, I'm with you. I felt that would have been their best chance.
Wait to see Houston and UConn play.
Dude, UConn taking out number.
I mean, I'm
you saw what they did to
really
Marquette?
getting ahead of myself, but I would love to see that matchup.
Jeez, I mean, UConn just destroying teams that are ranked in the top 5. I'm like, okay, well, geez, maybe they are.
They're playing in a watered down league too.
Maybe, but I mean, they took out Marquette yesterday.
What's that?
Took out Marquette yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. Like I say,
81-53.
Yeah,
Marquette's number 14 in the nation.
Dude, I walked it back. I said they play a weak schedule too, but they just played. But you can also say that the Marquette team's kind of reeling right now for Shaka.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? It's just like, I mean, this is a bigger loss, especially with the way it happened. But it's just kind of like, isn't that weird? It's just like, oh, he leaves, and again, he finds success away from Texas, and like he just wasn't able to get it done here. I was kind of curious as to why. When you can get the players, more than likely is
spotlight on you when you're at Texas.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
but you do have a lot of that. But your bag's a lot bigger. That's for sure.
I guess
your resources are a lot bigger.
Yeah,
you should be able to pull any type of recruit in if you are at the Longhorn or if you're on the Burnt 40.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. So I'm just like, man, the guy, I guess he really is a good coach, able to go away, get some more success, and I mean, have his team ranked in the top 10. Yeah, they suffered an awful defeat yesterday, but against the best team in the nation, arguably, or at least the number 1 ranked team in the nation right now, according to the polls. So it's just like, dang, is UConn really that good? Like, where they're just going to dominate?
They were pretty damn good. I mean, it showed you how good they were last year, and it's only carried over into this year, man.
I know. It's because as soon as you said Houston, UConn, I'm like, dude. I just kind of like started salivating. I was like, I want to see that game.
I hope we all get a chance to see this go down. Because
when are you guys making your?
Purdue's not it, by the way, guys. Purdue will not be there. They're going to make a strong run right now, but once Edie starts to get a little bit worn down in the conference in the tournament, they're only big and fast as Edie. Once Edie's out of the picture. Purdue.
I was never on the Boilermaker train. I'm not going to be now.
It's going to be the same shit that we've seen the past 3 years.
Exactly. That's why.
Excellent in the regular season, and then they're gonna tank and get in their own way in the postseason.
They were just too slow and unathletic, and that's what ends up beating them in the tournament when they have to go against not just more athletic teams, but even when they go against those teams that are smaller than them, they're usually just quicker. So it's just like they can't play at the pace.
Whether you're watching college basketball or NBA, NFL, with the news going around there, or you need to make some prop bets, futures bets, next year for the NFL, you got to do it with betus.com. Make sure you're doing it right now. If you're watching a video, just click on the link and it will take you right to the page that you need to make all your bets. That's it. You don't have to call anybody. You just click the link right there, and then you can bet on a little bit of Texas, maybe a little bit of Texas baseball today, going up against San Diego if you want that. Maybe some NBA stuff. Maybe you take out a bet that Doc Rivers will get a win with the Milwaukee Bucks in the next century. It's all deadly. Got to do it with betus.com. One of the best that we do it with, and one of the best that you'll do it with too. Make sure you get all the news, notes, and nuggets, and get your bets in on time with that line on betus.com. All right, my guy. Let's get back into it, dude. Texas baseball getting things started off on the right foot. They got a little bit more to finish off at the dish today, but how about the weather that we're having here, Smash? It goes from like fucking 60 degrees, and then within a matter of 2 hours, we're down to 34 or 38 last night, man. Good conditions for the Longhorns in San Diego. Maybe that's the reason. Well, actually, they're in San Diego. Or no, excuse, they're at the dish.
No, they're here.
Maybe that's the reason why San Diego is struggling a little bit, is because they're not getting that fair weather that they usually get at San Diego.
Nah, man. First day on Friday was beautiful. I mean, I was working college softball this weekend. So, yeah, I was out there yesterday freezing my ass off. It was cold.
I saw BK taking batting practice.
Oh, why would you want to, man? Hands would hurt trying to take batting practice.
Friday night, though. He was
okay. That's different, man. Yeah, yesterday was just unpleasantly cold. Like, I took out all the winter gear. Again, like gloves, everything. Yeah, man, the wind chill was real, and it hurt. You know how it is.
No,
it was
I'm with you. I get it, 100%. I had my ski jacket out yesterday.
Exactly,
but why do we have this? We're in Texas.
Yeah, it was just like, man, we went from a gorgeous day to that, but today is going to be much nicer. And I mean, like Texas, I know they got the new the new Yeti addition to the field this year.
The Yeti yard.
Yeti yard. I saw that Texas Fancy Boots was over there already taking the insider photos, so I got a good glimpse of how things were looking from that perspective.
Who was Megan? Did you say Megan?
Megan,
was out there?
Yeah. I call her Texas Fancy Boots. I'm like,
Yeti and Longhorns, and Megan will be there, 100%. The
so
Longhorn person in the world.
Through her, I get to experience like all this new Longhorn stuff that's happening that I won't make it to because of work and other sports I have to cover.
Make sure you guys are checking out Fire the Cannon here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Megan and Rocky do a great show.
I mean, I've known Rocky for a really long time, and I love them both.
Hey, did her daughter, is she still wrestling?
Shout out to Nadia. She did qualify for the state tournament, but I mean, at that juncture, she was rather new to the sport from what I understood. So, that's pretty dang cool.
Too, man.
To kind of find your thing and just get into it.
Fantastic work, Nadia Osborne. Shout out to Rocky's kid, man, for representing. Shout out to Mark Henry's kid too, Jacob Henry, for being able to represent Vandegrift.
I mean, like, how cool is that? Though?
A little short though in the Texas tournament for UIL wrestling. So,
but how cool is that though? Because it's like an individual sport, so it's like you go against all the best kids in like your region and stuff, and then like you've never done this before.
Prominent where I was from, like we didn't. A few schools were pretty big with wrestling back in my day where I come from, but it wasn't big like it was in Pennsylvania or Ohio.
My high school didn't have it.
Okay, so we didn't have it until my senior year. We didn't really get a actual wrestling team until, or it might have been a year after I got out of school.
There were schools, and this is like during the 2000s, a little bit after. So there were schools in my region that started to get those wrestling teams, but my school, I don't think they even have one now. It was just something they've never competed in, which is kind of surprising because we had the wrestling mats because we would use them for football practice sometimes.
Yeah, we had the wrestling mats too, but I'm trying to see. I'm looking at the. Yeah, so I went to Brunswick High School in Maryland, and we did not get a wrestling team until after 1999, which is the year I graduated in 1999 from high school in 1999.
Damn, was your guys' song Prince 1999? What was the
song? Actually, the year before when I was at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, it was Master P, Bout It. I'm not even lying.
I know you're not lying. That's what makes it great. Oh, it's a good song, though.
Bout It was the legit class song for class of 1999.
But see, it's so fitting, though, because it's like a really good dynamic of what the 90s was like. It was like, this was big in 1999. You know, like my class chose.
No Limit Soldiers?
Yes, it's better than Freebird. It's like why out of all the songs, like I'm surprised that
you had Freebird as your.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I don't know why.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's cool, but I'm just like, why Freebird? I was like, there were so many other things that would have fit a lot better during that time when I graduated post 2000s.
Was it? Freebird. Yeah, Freebird's different than Simple Kind of Man, right?
Yeah,
it's 2 different songs.
Yes,
if I'm getting my Leonard
same band, 2 different songs.
Same band.
It's kind of like Great Britain, you know.
Well, hey, we're
same area, 4 different countries.
4 different. Yeah, no, I got you. Hey, don't go nowhere. We're going to take a 30-second hiatus real quick and hear from our sponsors, our friends over at Covert BK.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Well, I wasn't born and raised in Austin, but my son basically was. Well, he had a little bit of a Hawaiian stint to him. But we're in the market for getting a new car there, and we're going to go out and check out the inventory for BK, Covert BKs here, Smash. I kind of like if I'm buying him one, I feel like I'm going to have car envy, and I'm going to have a new car too.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's what happens, doesn't it?
and let me reiterate, like we're taking the money that he saved up and got in return back for his first car being totaled. we actually received more money. Now look,
don't you love when that happens though?
He had a little bit of a rough week. All right, he went through 4 accidents.
Oh, the truck. That's right.
No, excuse me, I had it right the first time. 3 accidents in 4 days. Only one was his fault. Only one was his fault.
Yeah,
but still. 3 accidents in 4 days. Kind of got to take a break from driving, my guy.
Yeah, it's like
everything slowed down a little bit now, and he's a fantastic driver, excellent driver now.
You had him on that Gran Turismo course training.
Yeah. I've got him more like the GTA 5 course training, to where it's just way too fast. But anyways, we were able to salvage the money that we got back from the insurance or whatever after totaling the car, and we're in the market right now for finding him a new ride, so to speak. But dude, I'm telling you, if I'm going there, I can't get the envy, dude. I'm probably gonna have to purchase a Tahoe because those things are looking sexy.
Is that what you're wanting right now? Is the Tahoe? Okay.
Every time I see the commercial that we play here,
you see it just moving, just like,
God damn, that thing looks sexy. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. Okay, man. If you do make that purchase, then we're gonna have.
Yo, you got my money. You got my money. I'm gonna break your thumbs. You got my money.
If you make that purchase, we're gonna have to shoot a commercial like McConaughey style that he did for what was it, Buick?
Just rolling down the.
Yeah, and it's like how I feel in my Tahoe.
But there's Osiris there. me and the bull going head to head. Yeah, me and that there Osiris.
Yeah, we can get you a hat, man. You lived in Texas long enough.
I can't pull it off though. You know what? I feel like I like my hair as it is right now, and I want to keep it as long as I want to. I feel like I'm thinning a little bit, so I kind of want to wear my hair on my head without a hat while I still have my hair.
You're like, there's plenty of years.
Now, once it starts to fade, once I start to like recede a little bit more, that's when I'll put the hat on. That's when I'll embrace hathood, as I like to call it.
Yeah, I've never been much of a cat person, except during the summer, just because it's so hot. But I don't.
You wear a hat in the summertime?
A cap, like a ball cap style, like but a hat. I have one. And it's like a dress felt hat, so it's like it's too hot to wear it in Texas, and I don't go anywhere fancy enough to usually wear it.
Yeah. One, they don't put us and fancy in the same damn sentence together. So
only if I'm talking about Texas fancy boots. Yeah, exactly. And she looks better in a hat than I do, so I'm just all like, I just can't.
Regardless, she looks better than us. Period.
Exactly. I can't pull off a hat anyways. I don't know, man. I just don't. Because where I'm from, real cowboys wear cowboy hats, and I'm not a cowboy. I'm like a city slicker. So.
where you're from, down in the Rio
Grand Valley. Yeah, I mean, like, unless you live that ranchero or country lifestyle, it's not like something that is part of my everyday wear. It's like I have one just for special occasions and stuff. Well, if I get invited to something today, similar,
I'm sure you'd be able to wear it out to the ditch day, but also bundle up when you're going out there. It's going to be a little bit chilly as Texas takes on the last part of the game between San Diego, or the last part of the weekend series between San Diego and Texas here.
It'll be cool enough to wear it today. You are correct. It's going to be about 60.
It will be cool enough to wear it today. Anyways, we talked about that. Texas looking to finish that up and get started on the right foot there for Texas baseball. Talked about the debacle with Texas basketball. I need
to ask you.
You should have been able to keep it close, but just absolute doors blown off to you. We got Daytona 500 coming up too, guys. So make sure you're able, if you do have the setup with audiovisual consultations, you're able to watch Daytona 500 and Texas baseball at the same time. But at the end of the show, when this show concludes, we'll have Rodney Rodriguez on with Revved Up ATX. You guys know Rodney from Chaos Theory and all the shows that he does around here, all the great work that he does from Texas Sports Unfiltered. Stay tuned because you got to get your news, notes, and nuggets for Daytona 500. NASCAR starts today, baby. Hey, look, MTJ, it's MTJ's year. Well, you guys know I'm a Martin super fan. But no, we'll hear from Rodney here in just a little bit on some futures bets, maybe. If you guys are looking to put some down for not just today, but also throughout the season of NASCAR, because if it's one thing NASCAR is, it's fucking long. NASCAR is
yeah.
I almost thought that it was longer than soccer, but actually soccer is longer than NASCAR. Can you believe that, Smash?
Oh, I definitely believe it. It's just because there's so much money.
Well, it feels like NASCAR is just constantly going all the time. Like it feels like there's
February
a race
to
every week.
Yeah, it's like February to October, almost November, basically, with like a short break in the summertime. And yeah, it covers pretty much every other American sport that's going on at the same time. It pretty much goes into everything. Overlaps every sport. So, I mean, I liked it when it was big. Who?
Do you have a driver that you pay attention to, or do you got a team?
Nah, man. I'm one of those guys that was like, I was into NASCAR as a kid because it was just big at that time, the late 90s to early 2000s. And I liked Days of Thunder. I liked the movie Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. So that was kind of like the peak of NASCAR fandom for me, was like, Talladega Nights. You had Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., I remember watching it when Earnhardt lost his life at Daytona, so I was...
Rodney and I talked about that. That was, that was the anniversary, or not, I'd say anniversary.
But it's the remembrance of it.
It's the remembrance of it. Yeah, thank you. That's a better...
that same year when his son goes on to win the Daytona race in July...
See, I always confused that. I always confused with his son getting that win, but it was his teammate that got the win, that Rodney...
it was his brother is, they're brothers, but the brother's on Fox, and he's like what was it, Boogie Let's Go Racing or whatever, what's that guy's name?
Remember.
But I know the guy that won it. His first name was Mikey.
Daytona's been canceled for today due to weather, but
are you serious?
But
that's awesome though.
Rodney's still gonna have a show, but again, the race will pick back up tomorrow.
No, but that's why I like. It's like, okay, so I get some Monday racing, so I got something to watch during the day. Yeah. And I like NASCAR, like all my racing, like in the background, it's kind of like
I do too, until like they start to come up on the stage, and that's the stage points. When you win your stage, that's your stage points goes towards your playoff points, is what we're talking about in hour number 1. Rodney obviously hit me with the assist off air, being like, dumbass, it's stage points, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's okay, man. I wouldn't know that either. Sorry, man. Rodney. It's like I try, but like NASCAR needs to fix its rules and make it more simplified in order to get the casual fan back.
The past couple of years, man. I mean, again, I haven't been an avid. I
think Jordan's got a team too. Like there's Michael Jordan Racing, right?
Yeah, Jordan got one.
But I don't know, man. I think they need a series similar to what F1 has on Netflix, because that got me watching F1 for at least a couple of seasons, just because I was so enthralled with the behind the scenes stuff,
Did you watch any of the NBA All-Star Weekend last night?
I've been trying to ask you that all show long. And you know what? I normally don't, but since I was just hanging out with friends last night and just like eating and drinking, yeah, because there was nothing else I really wanted to watch and there was really nothing else on. So I saw the 3-point contest, kind of boring. And then I saw
the game will be today, but
yeah, games today, but I saw the slam dunk contest and yeah, actually I was quite entertained by the slam dunk contest.
Yeah, not bad. Like, I didn't think that McGlung was gonna win again.
With the final jump over Shaq, I was just like, the kid's nasty.
When Shaq came out, I was like, all right, it's rigged. You know what I mean? Like, it's not rigged, but
I was thinking that it was going to be rigged for Jaylen Brown to win, regardless of how good McClung played, just because one, it's an NBA All-Star going against a G Leaguer, and they want more All-Stars.
And this is kind of like, it's almost giving more fuel to the fire, being like, hey, we need the actual NBA talent to come back and play in the small game, like the dunk contest and the 3-point shot, which, you know, we'll talk about the 3-point contest in just a minute. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was very entertaining.
The Steph versus Sabrina thing though was pretty cool, honestly.
Also, like, it was awesome. Like, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first. I was just like, oh my God, come on. Can we let the women be with the women and the men be with the men? Like, because you know how I don't like politics in sports. I just, even though it's inevitable to have
it's inevitable though.
Most of us come to sports as our sanctuary from the other rigors and outside noise of bullshit politics, right? But, you know, politics is always going to be in sports regardless. That's just the fabric of our society.
Can I just say it real quick that my philosophy is sports is life, so therefore it reflects the politics of the day.
I'll take that.
I mean, the Olympics have shown.
What do you think about the 3-point contest? I
loved it.
I was entertained. I would love to see.
That's how good she is, though. She was knocking it down from NBA distance with consistency, easy.
I could not help thinking this, Smash. I could not help thinking this. I was like, if Sabrina's doing this, wait until you see Caitlin. I want to see Caitlin Clark go up against Steph Curry.
But it gets me excited for like the WNBA season.
Oh,
you know?
100%. I talked a little bit about this on Chaos Theory too with Rodney. This is probably the most involved I've been with college, with women's college basketball.
Texas is really good this year.
It's from the aftermath and fall. I can't really say fallout, but it was from all the hype of last year between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And by the way, the media is trying to make a feud out of or a rivalry out of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark because they appear to be awesome competitors and respect each other's games tremendously. And
they're both
if that shit happens to where Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are on the same team in the WNBA, I'll be tuning in. I'll be paying attention because that's some good basketball, man.
Dude, they're both great players. I love watching them play. We got a whole bunch of women coming up.
What Caitlin Clark surpasses Kelsey Plume for most points scored in women's college basketball. So shout out and kudos to her. And she did it in Caitlin Clark fashion, where she drilled from the damn logo to surpass Plume. So
yeah, man, it's crazy though to think that Steph Curry is the guy that changed all this.
Right.
Because it was so recent, and I was just all like, I didn't think a 3-point shooting kid from Davidson who had this tremendous run in the tournament that was like couldn't find a position in the NBA because he wasn't really a point guard, but they didn't want to have him as an undersized shooting guard would have changed the whole facet of how everybody plays basketball. Because you go to those Gassos, you know how it was. Like everybody shoots up threes now.
It's different, dude. To the point where you're on a fast break.
Yes.
You give
up. Why?
You give up a sure shit layup for a 3. Like you see this in AAU, like you just said, Gassos. You see this at Gassos, and my first thought is, if you're the coach, how do you not pull that kid for giving up a layup and shooting?
Different game, man, because of Steph.
It's changed. It is just absolutely changed.
And the analytics.
I mean, has the analytics changed though?
Yeah, because the 3-point shot statistically is worth more because of the risk aversion.
Only if you have the ability on your team to knock down the 3-point shot.
Yeah, but in comparison to the mid-range shot, it's like, the percentages are about the same to make the shot, but the reward is higher. So it's like, Yeah, now you see people, like if you go back and watch old NBA tape, you'll see them run their screens around the people, but they don't necessarily try to set up behind the 3-point line. Shooters nowadays are very conscientious of where it's at, so they'll try to make that step back to get a three. Even Reggie Miller wasn't, while he was a good 3-point shooter,
he would shoot technically bad shots because his foot was on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if he would have taken one step back, he would have hit a three.
Yeah, like in today's NBA, bad shot, but at that time it didn't matter because he probably grew up playing without a 3-point line anyways, because the 3-point line wasn't implemented until the 80s anyway, so it's just a weird game.
It's funny you say that because when Reed and I watch hoops, I'll sit here and I'll talk under my breath all the time. And I'll be like, bad shot. And he'll look at me, what are you talking about, old man? That's not a bad shot. What are you talking about? Like, in the old days, that's a bad shot because usually you would want to take a step back. And I'll still say this today. Like, if you're 1 step in from the 3-point line and you take a shot, that's a bad – regardless if you're open or not and you knock it down, I still think that's a bad shot. You can take 1 step back or a half a step back and then, maximize your scoring chance there with 3 instead of 2, like you were
that's the analytics about.
But yeah. I mean that goes against that old adage and philosophy of if you're open it's a good shot.
Yeah, that's also true. But it just works. It depends on how they work their basketball now offensively. A lot of the switches and stuff make it difficult. So it's just like, to get that shot it takes a lot of work now. But I just feel that there's not enough drivers and slashers nowadays at the lower levels to really make it effective like they want to. I see what they're trying to do, though. But, yeah, almost every game I see at the lower level now is just a 3-point shootout.
Real quick, we've already talked about audiovisual consultations, BetUS, and Covert Bee Cave, but just another quick shout-out to all of our sponsors as well. Look, audiovisual consultations, the reason why I'm able to stay apprised and up to date with all this information in sports, it's because of audiovisual consultations. So make sure you guys are hitting them up, 512-255-8678. The very best in the business to do so. In the NBA right now, Smash, the Milwaukee Bucks seem to have a problem.
Yeah,
they thought they'd be able to fix it with a quick coaching decision, and it looks like they're still reeling and spiraling. What in the hell do the Bucks have to do to, I guess, give Doc Rivers some confidence or to get some confidence back into that locker room? But it looks like it is a mess for Milwaukee.
Yeah, man.
And Dame nor Giannis can fix it.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you what's going on because it seems like it must be really internal now that the coach, because obviously they were very happy to have Coach Griffin leave originally.
Right, I mean, Griffin was not the issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point, though. It's like, okay, so he obviously wasn't the issue. So what is? And I hate to say it, this all didn't really arise until
Dame and Giannis do not play together.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like Dame time, I'm like, ooh. I know he's personally he's going through a divorce and stuff off the court, and I was like, is he bringing that into the locker room? Because Giannis is usually a pretty laid back, carefree guy, and he's having one of his best seasons statistically as it is. It's the most dominant athletic force in the NBA right now. It's just that his team isn't playing well, and I don't know. I don't feel like it's on Giannis, and I know Dame is doing his thing.
Oh no, it's not Giannis. It's because everything was fine until Dame got there.
That's what I'm thinking, man. I was like, I just don't think he was the right fit for that team. But they wanted the double superstar thing to try to win another championship while they still could capitalize on Giannis, giving them the friendly contract, because he probably won't re-sign again once he becomes another free agent because he's probably going to be ready to move.
He's giving Milwaukee everything.
Exactly.
He's given them all the opportunity to build around him and restructure contracts around him.
They did it for a little while, right? When they won the championship, and that was it. The run was done after that.
And it's the same thing for Dame too. Like Dame just left that type of scenario in Portland, but will the same type of fallout or aftermath, or I guess
So maybe it's been Dame this whole time, man.
I think
it kind of feels like it has to have be, right? If it's just
I think maybe he and Griffin were button heads in the locker room, and that's why Griffin, exited stage right. Clearly, they want to keep Dame around because of his shooting, his range, and his impact that he can make from the perimeter.
Yeah,
but I think you backed the wrong horse.
That's what I was thinking too. I wasn't in love with the trade when it happened. I really questioned it, but you know who did make a good trade though? My Dallas Mavericks. So excited, man! Went on a 6-game winning streak right after they made the trades. We got centers that can rebound. Dude, I'm looking forward to the playoff run.
I'm a Wizards fan still, but you guys know that I really enjoy watching the Mavericks here. And I have become a tremendous fan for the rookie sensation Lively. I think
he's so good.
Much needed energy and much needed bounce that that Dallas needs in their front court. I can't start calling myself a wee guy.
No, come and join the bandwagon, man.
I can't do it yet.
You can be a bandwagon fan, dude. It's cool. I mean, Kyrie Irving's playing like Kyrie Irving again. Some of the finishes he made.
He and Luka play together. It's so fun. You get some consistency in the front court, and Dallas has an actual fucking shot at this thing.
They're the best tandem in the league, I think. Him and Luka. 100%. They just mesh so well together. No defense.
You know who else is a pretty damn good tandem? Do you know? Rodney Rodriguez and Bobby Chaffee. They are one hell of a damn tandem. I'm going to bring them on right now.
Smash is like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
What do you mean you don't know if you're a good tandem? Rodney, we got it going on, but you and Bobby been doing it for almost a decade, man. How you guys doing today? What's up for this Sunday? I'm sorry you're all
Wags,
got
I want to ask you something. Did you just say that you're not a weed guy?
No, I'm a weed guy. I said.
Oh, okay. You said you were not a weed guy. Is what you said.
I said I can't say I'm a weed guy. Yes,
that's a Dallas Mavericks fan. Yeah.
I can't say that. I didn't throw a D on there. You're just hearing that D. You know what it is? You need the D. That's what you need. You need the D, Rodney.
Oh Lord, we're gonna get that started again.
Hey, bring Bobby Chaffee over too. Come get this damn quarter barrel.
Oh yeah, Bobby, you got to see this, dude. He's got a quarter panel laying there in his studio.
I can't get up because I'm not wearing any pants. So,
oh my god,
I would show you, but I'm not wearing any.
I thought this was uncensored.
Bobby's like, I don't remember doing shows that were quite like this. You're muted there, my man.
Trust me, Smash. If I get up, it will be censored.
Unfiltered instead of uncensored, right?
It's a lot of for sure, Bobby. That's what's going on. But anyways, guys, no race. I'm sorry that it's spoiled a little bit, but hell, at least we'll get some racing tomorrow, right?
Hopefully. Time 2. You get so Wags 10 o'clock when we go on with Chaos Theory. We're going to have the Xfinity race. It's going to be going. And then we go, I think, what time is it, Bobby? I think 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock's the 500 on Fox.
We'll have the 500. So, yeah, all that's going to be happening. And I got to tell both of you guys, Smash and Wags, I mean, listening to you guys talking about what you were talking about, I wasn't going to wear my covert cap, but I do have a receding hairline, boys.
Yeah, so, man, I like to keep it there while I have it. I want to keep it, so it's visible and everything. I want to show that I have a decent set of hair right now, but once it starts to get a little bit more thinner, Rodney, boom, that's when it's going on.
Well, see, and Bobby and I have talked about this on the Revved Up Livecast. I mean, look at Bobby's hair right there. That dude's got a full head of hair.
Flush. Yeah. Flush. Feathered and lethal, Rodney. You just don't see it these days anymore.
I know. It's like, what the fuck? Come on. But whatever.
It's getting more gray in it, but at least it's still there.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that.
It's going nowhere, Bobby. At least you got a full set of hair yourself there, my guy.
I'm afraid of it.
What's the preview for the show today, fellas? What we talking about?
So here's what we got, guys. Coming up probably in about 8 minutes, we're talking to David Hart. He is the vice president of public relations with Texas Motor Speedway, SMI, cool. Which, of course, also operates the COTA race. So we're going to talk to David. He's going to join us. They're supposed to be having a big-ass party over there at TMS. No race to show. So we'll figure out what's going on there. We do want to talk about with some of the changes in NASCAR. We'll talk about, who's the pressure on? Who's the pressure really on this year? Because lots of things have changed. We'll talk about that. And then at some point, we'll give you that Daytona 500 preview and let you know what to expect tomorrow when you call in sick to work.
Right on, man. Of course, I'm sure you guys will be talking about the futures and the futures bets. If you guys need any futures bets, and
I'm going to explain that.
Which teams are looking primed up and ready to go with the best engines and the best gear going forward in 2024.
Yeah, I'll explain that because NASCAR is kind of a different animal. I mean, I know we talk about Bet US here all the time, Wags, but when it comes to betting on NASCAR, you can do stuff, but when you're going to actually throw some money down, you got to go to a certain spot. So we'll break all that down. We'll lay it all out.
You got to go to the G spot when you're throwing that money down. Just
got to go to the G spot, my man.
Oh, I was going to say champagne room, probably.
All right, man. Well, we're out of here, man. I got to go pick up the kiddo from a little bit of an event last night that he had. He was responsible. He was responsible.
Good man.
stayed there. That's what we're talking
about. Dad. It's a good dad. A good dad teaches that.
Well,
by the way, I bought all this beer for the
dad
Daytona
teaches you
500.
how to not
I have
get
nothing
caught,
to
right?
do with it.
That's
today.
what a good dad does. It teaches you how to not get caught. So
that's right. My man.
My man. Y'all be good, man. Have a great show. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and everybody that tune into the Wagner Wire on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Thank you guys for tuning in, and it's time now for Revved Up RTX.
Let's go racing.
Vroom vroom, all left turns. Y'all be good.
Unless you come to Dakota. Take care, boys.
Something else, ain't it?
See the shit I got to deal with every day, Bobby.
I see it. I see it. I see the crosstalk, before and after. So
yeah. Crazy stuff happening right there. Welcome in Showtime, Bobby Chaffee. As we get set, we had massive plans to get. Well, we can still give you the 500 preview, but if you've missed it, the Daytona 500 has been postponed, and they did it early. And the coolest part, I think, Bobby, is to sit and go to social media and sit and watch. I got to say, so far it's positive to where NASCAR did this early. I mean, I like that they did this early. And, here's the plan. Here's what we're doing. And honestly, it sucks that it's on a Monday, but you get a doubleheader tomorrow with the Xfinity Series and the Cup race with the 500.
Well, it's a President's Day tomorrow, right? So that's kind of a business holiday for a lot of people. I know I'm off tomorrow, luckily for it, so I don't have to call in sick tomorrow. Nice. But I think this way it works out, right? Like everybody wants the Super Bowl to be pushed up to this weekend where the Daytona 500 is, so everybody can have Monday off for President's Day. And then the NFL would have to add an extra game, another week of the playoffs, all that good stuff. So right now Daytona's in a sweet spot. It messes now when the NFL schedule got extended, it ruined speed weeks, right? For those who don't know, we used to spend 2 weeks in Daytona nonstop for you did the 24 hours of Daytona, then you did all kind of practice and qualifying and everything else for speed weeks. Now you show up on a Wednesday with no practice, qualify, then you go into the duels which sets the lineup in the field for the Daytona 500. Then you go trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series on Sunday. So it's not as much fun as it used to be, but man, I'm telling you, the support races at New Smyrna this week have been fantastic when they're not crashing out.
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch all of that, because what you have, kind of what Bobby's talking about right there, is right around that Daytona area, whether it be New Smyrna Speedway, which is a massive asphalt racetrack, and then you got Volusia County Speedway, which is an incredible dirt racetrack. I mean, you've got all of these different races that are now kind of taking the place right there, because it was. I mean, this really was. And it's so funny. And again, kind of the outline what we're doing here. Dave Hart's going to jump on here in just a couple of minutes, and he's live at Texas Motor Speedway. So, and we'll talk to him about what's going on there with TMS, because now with the NASCAR schedule, the way it lays out for Texas is really cool, because you got Austin and you got Fort Worth. They're kind of right there piggybacking off each other. We'll talk to him about that, kind of go over some of the changes, I hate the comer and goer thing. We don't really have that yet, but we'll talk about what we think should be happening here. There's a lot of pressure on some drivers and teams right now. We'll talk about that. And then finally, we'll get to the official starting lineup of the Daytona 500, which is now on Monday afternoon. Dig into that and get into the nuts and bolts of that. But it's really cool in the sense now, I think that I know a lot of folks say, well, it's not speed weeks anymore. It really still is. And I like the fact that NASCAR has trimmed this thing down. That's the one thing, Bobby, that I'll say coming out of COVID. I think that the fact that you got practices trimmed down and all this happens, I think this has really been a good thing, and folks just don't want to embrace that part.
Well, I think they need a little bit more practice before qualifying. Myself is, especially on a super speedway car when you're going the fastest that you will at any track not designed at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that just for me, I'm not always the most keen on safety, but I think just because of the fact that the safety aspect of needing to nut and bolt these cars and getting a time to shake them down before you go out and qualify, I think that's really important. Yeah. And I'm not talking like an hour session. I'm talking like they used to get 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, basically nothing more than you go up, go through the gears, go through the brakes, go through the oil lines, boom, 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 30 minutes, come down to pit stop, done. Hour later, fire them up. Let's go qualify.
That's it. That's exactly right. All right, let's dive in right here. We were talking about, we had everything planned out. I mean, and I got to tell you, I was hoping that I could have gotten to the Great American Speedway. Not a better place to watch Daytona 500 than on Big Hoss. But joining us right here, you saw him over on the FM side when we had the Revved Up show. Now jumping over with us here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Going to break down everything that's happening in Texas for NASCAR. It is our friend DH, David Hart. Dave, how you doing, sir?
Gentlemen, how are you doing? Great to see you again this year.
Man, great to see you once again. Glad we found us a spot right here. So you guys were going to have a hammer down party over there with this race that was supposed to happen today. How have you guys shifted? I'm assuming at TMS the party's probably still going on out there with something on Big Hoss.
Well, actually, yeah, we had a great Daytona 500 watch party planned. We were inviting campers to come in starting yesterday morning at 8 a.m. and then they could stay overnight. Had them planning to eventually have to vacate by tomorrow around noon. And then with the weather down in Daytona, that just that messed everything up. I mean, we had more than 150 folks or 150 separate camping groups that had pre-registered to be there, and I think we ended up with 20 or so because they're watching they've got all the doodads to see what the weather's like in Daytona. Sure. And they saw it was not great, so unfortunately we had to cut things short a little bit. But we had coffee and donuts for everybody this morning to pass out, and as it turned out, we ended up, I think, giving everybody a box of donuts on their way out. So
I love it.
But it's one of those things. It's weather. Everything was pretty cool at the racetrack this morning, but sunny and clear. And unfortunately, with what the forecast looked like throughout the day today, that weren't able to have the fun we were hoping to.
No doubt.
So, David, I've been caught at TMS with some massive thunderstorms over the years up there with tornadoes during qualifying and all kind of stuff like that. From the track's perspective, how much time do you guys spend in a plan B for that week? I mean, anybody that could watch a radar and read a phone screen knew it was going to rain all weekend from Saturday all the way to Monday afternoon. So how much planning from a speedway side goes into that as like a backup plan B?
For what we were doing here this weekend, or for a race itself?
Maybe for race weekend.
Yeah, for race weekend, we've got 26 years, 27 years of plans that we can go back and look at, that we're taking stuff from, that we're refining every race. As a matter of fact, Kenton Nelson, our general manager, not our general manager, our VP of events for both the Speedway and as of a year and a half ago or so, over all of Speedway Motorsports. He put out an updated schedule, minute by minute schedule for our race that's 50 some odd days away. He just did that this morning. So we're constantly working on those things. We have all the plans. You try and it's like a race team. You try and take out as many variables as you can before it gets there, because inevitably it's that one thing you haven't planned for that's going to come around and bite you in the rear end. So, like I said, we've got a great group of folks on our ops side and throughout the facility that know exactly what needs to be done. Go through things, go to different racetracks to see what they're doing. We can take some things from best practices, if you will, and be prepared for just about anything that happens.
Yeah. So, David, let's talk about, like I was saying there, I really like the fact here with Texas, what we've got this year. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of momentum off of the 500 tomorrow, and it's a double header now. So you get a double dose of what's going to be happening right there. And I think that's kind of a blessing in disguise, in my opinion. But you get that happening. But then as we start rolling in, you go to the middle of March, and then early April, you guys, I mean, SMI, TMS, you guys are the ones, the catalyst here with what happens at Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Mm-hmm. And then you got TMS right there. Kind of talk about that right there, that schedule. I mean, you guys, it is less than a month apart with two massive NASCAR, I mean, not just one race, lots of races happening at the two venues here as we get a little bit further on into the spring.
Yeah, between the two venues, Texas Motor Speedway and Circuit of the Americas, we've got all three of NASCAR's National Series, the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. It's great to be back with the triple header here at Texas Motor Speedway. Yep. So yeah, unfortunately, to a small degree on the fan side, some people are going to have to choose which one they're going to go to. Hopefully if they're not at one venue, they're at the other, and at the one they're not at, they're watching on television.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great thing to have. We've got 2 races in the state of Texas. We've got 2 completely different types of racing in the state of Texas. So it's going to be good. And like I said, it's great to be back and having a triple header here at Texas Motor Speedway. Actually the NASCAR weekend is basically culminates 10 days, 11 days of racing at the Speedway, starting the weekend before. The Friday of the week before, we've got 2 days of sprint car racing going on at the dirt track. And then as soon as that's done, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, everything will be down. But then Monday, we've got 4 days of the Micromania that we've done at the little 5th mile dirt track. So that's going to be great. And we always are able to draw a few of the NASCAR stars. Kyle Larson won the first year. Kyle Busch will be there. He and his son both race, separate categories, but both race. We'll do, like I said, 4 days of that through Thursday. And then we start at the big track with the trucks on Friday. Saturday, we'll run Xfinity right around lunchtime. As soon as that's done, we open up the half-mile dirt track, and we're going to we'll have Kyle Larson in his new sprint car series, High Limit Racing, will be up there Saturday night running there. And then Sunday we'll have the Cup race. So it's the Cup race is the culmination of a lot of effort and a lot of hopefully good times for all the fans that are going to be up at the racetrack.
That's right.
I think that the TMS dirt track, David, goes underrated. That is one of the finest short track facilities in the country to watch any kind of racing dirt wise. We always have fun when we go over there to watch the racing, but I think that moving the triple header back to the spring is going to pay dividends for the Speedway. Because it's hard. That fall race weekend was so tough when you try to go up against Friday Night Football in Texas with a truck race.
It's way
and you
hot.
try to go up against hunting weekend, opening weekend of hunting. I mean, moving that race to the spring, I mean, that must have been like a sigh of relief when they finally released the schedule.
Yeah, it was great. A couple of years ago, we were able to move off of the opening day, hunting opening day, so that helped some. But you're still dealing with football in Texas, and as you guys know. That's numero uno. I was doing drag racing for the NHRA 30 plus years ago, and I remember talking to the Dallas TV stations and asking them to try and get down to Ennis on a Friday night for qualifying, and they were saying they all had their own helicopters then. They said, well, we'll be bouncing around the different high schools for football. So if we're down there some way, we may stop, but high school football takes deal. So yeah, it's great to be. And like you said, Rodney, the heat, it's September, it's still pretty darn hot, and it was definitely hot this past September. So yeah, we're very happy to be in April. There may be a little chance of some weather, but I would rather take that over the other stuff we've got to deal with. We're looking for a great crowd. We were up attendance wise last year for sure, and like I said, putting together this 10-day package, we hope we attract even more folks there through the entire 10 days, and definitely those 3 days of the last weekend.
Yeah, going to be super cool. David Hart joining us right here as we Daytona 500 preview is what we're still going to do, even though the race is tomorrow. Vice President of Public Relations over at Texas Motor Speedway, SMI. Do want to ask you lastly, David, let's talk a little bit about COTA. So that has really caught on well. We've got a lot of folks here in Austin that really dig. My heart is at TMS. I'm an oval guy. I grew up on the ovals. I've been at almost every TMS race, but with what we've seen with the influx of fans that want to come to Austin, that want to see the different variation right there, COTA is something that is world-class. Kind of talk about that part. I think even a triple header there with a double header on Saturday and then the Echo Park Grand Prix coming up on Sunday, that's going to be a really good time coming up here in Austin once again.
Yeah, going down to Austin is special. There's a different vibe to it for sure. It's still NASCAR racing, but it's with a little additional flavor to it. So it's always a good crowd. The fans are great. I remember it was a couple of years ago. We had some rain down there, and a lot of times, most of the places we go to, if there's rain, you look up in the grandstand and there's nobody there. Well, these folks were used to Formula One. They were used to bikes. and you look up in the grandstand, it's raining outside, and those grandstands were still full. So that was neat to see. But yeah, it'll be a special weekend. Like I said, that doubleheader on Saturday. We'll have practice and qualifying for the trucks and Xfinity on Friday, and then run that doubleheader on Saturday, and then the Cup race on Sunday. So some more love for our folks at Echo Park. So that's something we share in common with them as well. That's actually owned by the Smith family as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice tie-in with that. But yeah, it'll be fun. I'll be down there. Actually, I've got a little doubleheader couple of weekends myself. I'll be in Bristol the weekend before, another Speedway Motorsports facility. I'll be helping them, and then turning around and coming down to COTA first thing Friday morning, helping out there. And then we've got a couple weeks to continue to prepare to get ready for our big weekend.
Love it. Love it. So Dave, best spot for folks if they want to get ticket packages. I mean, you guys do a great job putting stuff together to where it's as affordable as possible, especially with the proximity that you talked about. I mean, the mileage isn't that big of a deal, but I mean, money's hard to find, but I think you guys do a great job. TexasMotorspeedway.com and NASCAR at COTA.com. Best spots to go for all that.
Yep. Those are the two spots to hit. We've got good folks that'll be able to help you if you've got any issues, one way or the other. But yeah, those are the two main places to go, and we'll get you all squared up if you were just looking for a grandstand seat, all the way up to some sweet opportunities, to some sweet opportunities to have some fun, both at the round track and at the road course.
At the wiggly one. Yeah. Really good stuff. Really good stuff right there. Dave, as always, man, thank you. Thank you for jumping on here, man. It's good to have a tie-in once again. We're keeping it alive and well right here in Austin. Now we're doing it on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
I appreciate it very much. Looking forward to coming and seeing you guys down at COTA, and then hopefully you make your way up 35 to come see us in a couple weeks after that.
You betcha, my man. We'll
do
see
our
you
best,
there.
man.
You bet. Take care. You bet.
See ya.
There he goes. David Hart, lots of great conversations that we've had with him, not only in person, but, over, on the FM station, like we talked about. So really excited to have him on there. And I think it is cool that we do, I mean, with the Texas. And I think the best part of it, Bobby, is, and feel free to disagree with me. I don't, if you do, you do. I just think that now when you got Daytona happening, obviously the season kickoff, and then boom, you got a Texas doubleheader, so to speak, man. That's pretty kick-ass right there.
I think if it was closer, it'd make a bigger deal. The track that's benefiting the most from its new spot on the calendar is Atlanta, because you start the season with back-to-back super speedway races, basically, where you have the short track super speedway with Atlanta. So I think Atlanta's, ever since their repave and reconfiguration, they've been setting the world on fire, literally, with some of the great racing they've had there. For those who don't know what Atlanta did, it's the same size and somewhat configuration as Texas Motor Speedway, kind of a tri-oval. The difference is that it is banked like Daytona and Talladega, and it has the same type of racing tendencies as Daytona and Talladega on a track that's a mile shorter in length. So Atlanta's done a really good job. That's part of the whole SMI family. A lot of the folks were raising an eyebrow when that was happening. Didn't think it was going to work, and it did. So I think I think that, if the best part is to get more direct to your question, if we still have the same momentum that we get coming off of a Daytona doubleheader to get to a doubleheader there at COTA, that's huge, right? Because that's should be the first road course on the schedule. So, I mean, that's, if you could carry that momentum, not only is that going to be kick-ass for COTA, that's kick-ass for the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And I think that's great in the sense that plays out that way. And hopefully that's going to be the guys. Check it out, man. Man, we got all kinds of rebels checking in right here on the new platform. Todd Kim. Oh my goodness. Look at that jumping on the YouTube. That's one of our great race individuals there out of the Houston area. I've actually been told as well that we are actually streaming this bad boy live over in the infield at Daytona with our man. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. JDB has us going as well. So really cool stuff here as we dive in Daytona 500 coverage. David Hart joining us. And again, if you're you probably turned Fox on if you're looking for that race. All of that postponed. You were supposed to have an Xfinity race that was happening this afternoon. That's been moved to Monday as well. So you're going to have the Xfinity race coming on at 10 o'clock. That's going to be live right there on, I'm assuming all this is on FS1. And then the 500 will be a little bit later on in the afternoon. So you do get 2 days. And boom, there he is.
There he is.
Dan Bailey checking in right there live on the scene at Daytona. So lots to break down. We'll get into that starting lineup, kind of talk about what we anticipate is going to happen here in 2024 as we get ready to dive into the NASCAR season. But I'm sporting the cap. Before we dive into that, how about a word from our great friends at Covert BK?
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Absolutely. Since 1909, it's been the Covert family, and you've got a multitude of dealerships. If you're looking for the Fords and the Chevrolets, that's over in Hutto. You've got the Fords and the Lincolns. That's at 183 Research Boulevard, depending on what you want to call it right there.
Depending on how long you lived here, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. With the Coverts, great folks. And again, I say it on Chaos Theory all the time. You guys leave Hayden alone. She is the queen of Texas Sports Unfiltered. So don't be messing with Hayden. 222-9328 is the CODA text line. Of course, CODA Circuit of the Americas, one of our partners right here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. So we are super fired up. Lots of cool stuff that we have planned for live shows and so forth. That'll be going out there that weekend of the Echo Park Grand Prix, which is March 22nd through the 24th. So, Bobby, before we dive into the 500, we've got a lot of things that are happening different right now in NASCAR this year. I mean, when you look at some of these teams, I'd love your thoughts on there's a lot of pressure, man. It's a pressure cooker having this job, whether you're a driver, a manufacturer, an OEM. We have shifted a lot of shit around this year, man. I mean, tell me, drivers, who do you think the fire is under them? And the same thing with teams, because it is. It's one of those things. What have you done for me lately? And some folks haven't done some stuff lately.
First one that comes to my mind is going to be Daniel Suarez, and the top tier team.
Yeah.
Top tier team with Trackhouse. I think Trackhouse itself experienced a sophomore slump last year. I guess it was 2 years in there. I guess a junior slump. Right?
Slump. Yeah.
So I think they have the ability with the technology they have, and the I didn't realize they're as far up on the pecking order with Chevrolet as they are.
Yeah.
They're on the same tier as Hendrick and Childress and some of those. So and you found that out when Jimmy Johnson left to go to Toyota, is that you found out that Trackhouse was getting more support than what everybody thought they were. So I think that puts Daniel Suarez under a pressure cooker a little bit, puts that team under a little bit of pressure. They've already changed the crew chief on the 99, right? Crew chief is the first head that chops.
Yep.
If you
like
can't
that OC or DC, yeah.
You can't. If the first head chop doesn't work, then it's the driver. Driver's next. Where he's going to go, who knows? I think he found a really good home with Trackhouse. But I also think that it's it's a unique situation. The other guy that I think is under a lot of pressure, and it's a different kind of pressure, is Bubba Wallace. And I think that not due to his ethnicity or anything like that, he is always on.
Have you had a beverage yet?
No, not yet. Yeah, I'm still recovering from Brooks and Dunn. Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah. But he's right now he's always being branded as one of the NASCAR superstars, and he will be. That's just, you have to face that fact. He drives. It's not because he's a black dude. It's because he drives for one of the most famous sports athletes in the world, in Michael Jordan. That's also the reason that he's on the hot seat, because of the fact that he drives. Tyler Reddick already won a duel. Tyler Reddick's going to win 2 or 3 races easily this year. The question is, how many races can Bubba Wallace win? So Bubba Wallace is in a lot of pressure. I don't think he's on a hot seat. I don't think they're going to cut him loose.
No.
But I think he's in a pressure cooker over there at 2311. It's the same thing with Ryan Blaney. They didn't put Ryan Blaney on the posters for a long time. Then they started putting him on the posters when he complained about it in Xfinity races. Well, now he's the champ, and he's going to be put on everything. And it's a hell of a lot of pressure to repeat too. So that's my main three in terms of teams and drivers that are definitely going to have to be on the watch for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on the Bubba thing, and it really is. I mean, Bubba, it's he's got a target on him. He's got a magnifying glass on him all the time. And the dude, I mean, I even saw some stuff after the race the truck race the other night with Rajah Caruth. I mean, the fact is that Caruth has taken this dude on as his mentor, whatever you want to call it. They wanted to go have a conversation. I mean, just leave him alone. It doesn't need to be blown up into situations like it happens, so often. But I mean, it is. And the thing about it with Bubba is for whatever reason, and a lot of it is the talent that he has on the racetrack, because the fucking dude can race. And I mean, I know people don't want to admit it, but the fact that you have, obviously, like you talked about with the Jordan brand, with McDonald's, I mean, he's got some of the best partners that you can find. And with 2311, they've got the Toyota backing, which is, I mean, Toyota changed this sport. And that's another one where folks, and I'm not just saying this because Joe Dan is watching this, I can sit here and tell you that when you get the backing of Toyota and what they have done, that just, I mean, it magnifies everything with him. Obviously, I'm sure, Bobby, that I'm going to go to Ace. Austin Dillon is a guy to me where I think, yes, he has 4 NASCAR wins. I heard one of the national shows where they were talking about there's not a lot of guys that have won 4 NASCAR races. And that's very true. And that's very true. And the dude doesn't lack sponsorship. There's always sponsors on that Chevrolet, on that 3 car. But number one, it's the 3 car. And by the way, today is February 18th. I think 2 reasons that you're having all this rain in Daytona. February 18, 2001 is the day that we lost Dale Earnhardt. And I think that if you go back to the 1979 Daytona 500 that changed the way NASCAR broadcasted, if you go back and watch that, the opening statement, Ken Squire, rest in peace, who we also lost, said, "We are in a weather event." And I think those 2 things are the reasons that we're having the weather issues that we're having right here. Blame it on NASCAR coming to town. I don't care. But yes, Austin Dillon. And the other part of that for me is with Dillon, because if you go back and you look, when Tyler Reddick went to the 8 car, instantly, boom, contender, winner. And then, okay, he moves out. What's RCR going to do? They make the big move and they go to Kyle Busch. Boom, Kyle Busch winning races in the playoffs. I mean, an immediate contender. You have to think that there's got to be some kind of pressure right there on Austin Dillon. Lastly, Alex Bowman, it's time to go. Stay out of those sprint cars. Kyle Larson is doing what Kyle Larson does. We say doing Kyle Larson things. William Byron is really good. Alex Bowman, I'm not saying they're going to fire him either, like you're talking about. He's got the Ally sponsorship. He's got the 48. He's got all of that. But damn it, son, you got some hosses in the stall with you. I think you better get going right here.
Who has the better rebound year, Chase Elliott from his injuries and shoulder problems?
Yeah, I didn't even mention Chase.
Or do you have Alex Bowman, right? Both of them need a rebound year in terms of getting back on track. I think Chase has the better shot at it. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing against our man Blake Harris. I mean, he's a hell of a crew chief. No. I mean, I think sometimes it's just situational, pressure cooker wise. I mean, and there's so many guys as you can still add to this list. I think it's not going to be too long. I think that, part of the thing with Austin Dillon is it goes back when you do a head coaching search. Who are you going to get that's better right at the moment? That's the problem. Well. I mean, there's a few guys that are better talent-wise, but who's not locked in a contract?
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to pull in. I mean, they're not going to be able to pull in. That's so much about how racing is right now. This is very much, it's a team sport. And I mean, the main thing is, like I was talking about, that 3 car, that son of a gun never has blank panels on it. It's got plenty of the sponsors and everything. And that's just the power of RCR. What I'd like to see for Austin Dillon, I love Austin Dillon. I like that dude. I would like to see Austin Dillon have a season to where he's breaking this thing out a little bit, and maybe he and Kyle Busch both win 4 or 5 races. I mean, that's great. I mean, I think it's great for the sport. I mean, with RCR, especially, dude, Bobby, that car with some of the issues that NASCAR has right now with trying to draw fans back in, that fucking 3 car starts winning races. What is that going to do? That's good for business.
Well, the 3 car should have been by Kyle Busch if that's what they wanted.
Oh my God!
I mean, that would be crazy to think about it. But I think Austin Dillon has a chance. Sorry, I got still a little coughed up from the Brooks and Dunn show last night.
Coughed up.
But it was dusty in there, you know. And then
you're in a rodeo barn, dude.
Yeah, in a rodeo barn.
You're in a rodeo barn. That's what tends to happen.
It's like little singing along with some of those external country tunes. You know, the ones that live in the brain forever. You know, making country great again, one neon moon at a time. But I just think that his days of a driver are numbered. I think, and not just because he's going to get replaced. I think just because he really wants, Dillon. I think he really wants to run RCR.
Yeah,
I mean, his dad, Mike Dillon, runs it now, but I really think, you know, here in 4 or 5 years, I think Austin Dillon will be the head man in charge over there at RCR.
That could be. I mean, and then his dad, you know, Mike Dillon. I mean, it's a great family tree right there to when Pop decides to turn that thing over. So I mean, we're starting to see it at Hendrick. I mean, Jeff Gordon now is slowly
Hendrick 2.0.
Yeah. I mean, he dresses like him. He's even starting to look like him. I mean, I'm not a dude to talk about my face getting a little bigger, but hell, he's starting to look like Rick. And I think that he's doing that role well. I'll tell you what I'm excited about this year. I think that it's going to be really interesting, and thank goodness Jimmy Johnson got into that, into the 500. He'll start 23rd tomorrow afternoon. Who would have ever thought, Bobby? I was sitting there watching that Thursday night, and it's like Jimmy Johnson beats J.J. Yaley to get into the Daytona 500.
Yeah. Who would have thought that? 2 JJs battling for the last spot of the 500.
Oh man, but I do think that for legacy and the 2 teams that I really want to focus into SHR. That's a new lineup at SHR. I mean, that is a total revamp, you know, with Harvick stepping away, the elder statesman. So now you've got the differences right there, and they need a rebound year. That team and that Ford Mustang dark horse,
and they ain't going to get it though. That's the problem. They ain't going to get it.
That's what I'm thinking so as well. But I think with legacy is Jimmy's racing this weekend. But I think with legacy now with the Toyota, with the TRD stuff that we're talking about, I think legacy is in a spot to where a lot of folks are saying, well, it's going to take them a little while, whatever. No. They've been working really hard.
Yeah.
I think legacy is one that's going to sneak up on some people this year.
I think Eric Jones will win 1 or 2 races.
Absolutely.
I think so. I think with this not
he might win tomorrow, dude. He might win tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't think they're ready. It'd be something that Jimmy Johnson wins tomorrow.
Oh my God.
But I also think, I mean, just the way that they're already performing on the Toyota side, I think they've come in and fit into the mold. Because you know, when they came through and said Toyota wanted to come through and have a couple of new teams where everybody's like, they're gonna go get front row. They're gonna go get front row from Ford. I don't think anybody expected Jimmy Johnson to go from Chevrolet to Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that on multiple shows, on multiple occasions. Nobody thought Jimmy Johnson was going to go to Toyota. Mm-hmm. And so I think that became a unique position for him to be in. You know, now you get a 7-time 2 7-time champions in Richard Petty and Jimmy Johnson to have the brand over there, right? So I think that's pretty crazy. You know, here's my one. I don't know if I'm going to step on this soapbox now. You know me, right? Despite driving a Nissan truck, I'm a Ford guy when it comes to Ford performance and racing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
My biggest complaint on this dark horse style Mustang is that you can't have the dark horse Mustang black on a black grill without any kind of Ford emblem on it.
No emblem, right?
Because you can't see the damn Mustang horse on the new dark horse black grills. If you look at the way they did it in supercars that are running the dark horse Mustangs, most of those are silver.
Yeah.
So I get the black on black midnight thing, but if you really wanted brand awareness, because when they show those rear bumper cameras and those Fords are coming up, yeah, you recognize the headlights. Yeah, you kind of recognize the silhouette of the grill, but you can't see that Mustang. Yeah. How badass would that look on TV if you came up and you had a silhouette of a Ford Mustang coming right to the back bumper of that camera?
If you're Ford, you got to have that pony somewhere.
Got to be noticeable,
dude. That thing is so valuable. I mean, that in and of itself, right there, that's going to sell you some cars. I work with a lot of people in Chevrolet stuff, and I drive a Toyota, but I know a lot of people that love that damn pony. And I can tell you that thing is, immaculate, and you got to have it somewhere. Speaking of that dark horse, and speaking of, you mentioned Ryan Blaney, last year's NASCAR champion. Boy, he took on Thursday, and we'll get into the 500 because Blaney's going to be starting at the back of the race. I think he starts 36th when we go off of the stripe tomorrow. But man, take a look at this. And I'm going to do my best to share this. If you watch Chaos Theory, you know how I struggle on this thing to try to get a screen thing going right here. But take a look at this crash from Ryan Blaney. This was on Thursday night in the qualifying race.
Into the wall. Kyle Busch. So fast. Byron blocked him. Got him really.
Oh,
Byron Blaney into the wall. Kyle Busch.
And then when you go inside the car, look at the head movement and all that.
So fast.
And as Boyer said, it happens that fast. Blaney, after the race, not very happy.
As good as I can be from getting hooked 3 times in a row here.
How do you describe a situation like that? You can't control that.
I can't control it, but it comes from awful pushes by people. I mean, 3 times here in a row, awful pushes have led me to getting right reared. And it's just guys not being smart, not knowing when to get off somebody. Like, you cannot push in the corner that hard in the tri-oval. Like, I don't know when guys are going to get it. I'm sick of paying the expense of it and getting right reared from someone's dumb push. So it's just frustrating because we do everything right, and then you have guys who are just careless and just shove guys until they just don't know when to let them go, and it causes wrecks. And I just seem to be the byproduct of getting hooked in the right rear, which is never fun.
How are you? I mean, that's another brutal hit you've taken here.
I'm pissed. I'm sick of getting right reared here by someone else's awful push. Yeah, I'm pissed we have a backup car for the 500. Did everything right tonight. And now we have to work our ass off the next 2 days to try to get a 500 car ready. So I'm pissed, and I have every right to be pissed. I'm doing as good as I can be from getting hooked 3 times in a row here.
How do you describe?
That is a mad race car driver right there, Bobby. And he did apologize. I saw him on Friday in practice. He's like, I'm sorry for some of the language. Are you kidding me? I love that.
Perfect.
I want more of that.
That's your defending Cup Series champion, right? He's going to be – Denny Hamlin mentioned him as being the next guy to be boisterous. Because when you realize when the Tony Stewart left, Jeff Gordon left, the next 2 that kind of stepped up were Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. And now you got to wonder who's going to be the next group that's going to step up. I think that Blaney is going to be on top of that list. I think you'll see Logano and Blaney step up as the statesman for the drivers coming up. But I mean, I think it was great. That's raw emotion. Of course, he's pissed off. Those are, if you go back and look at the hits he's taken at Daytona and Talladega the last couple of races, they've been hard, massive hits. So I mean, I think that it's he'll still be up there on Sunday though, or on Monday. He'll still be up there ready to race and ready to go contend for that 500. He always is.
Yeah, he'll actually start 32nd. I misspoke right there. He will start 32nd. And let me tell you guys, tomorrow for a NASCAR doubleheader with that Xfinity race happening at 10 a.m. and then you got the Cup or the 500 happening later on. Not a better way to do it than a setup with audio-visual consultations. I know football season is done, but you got the NBA, you've got NHL, you've got all of this. You got NASCAR and with surround sound, Sonos surround systems, all the different things that Tom McKay and these folks can do. Quit spending your money driving around on race day. I mean, just have it set up at your crib and sit there and watch it. Make your home the place to be for the Daytona 500 party. I don't think you can get it done by tomorrow, but if you want for COTA, for COTA coming up, if you want a cool setup, talk to Tom and that group right there. They're going to get you hooked up. They've been doing this guy since 1988, and they are the best in the business. When you go to Pluckers, when you go to some of these different places, Tom McKay and AV Consultations are the ones that have set all of that up. They've hooked up thousands of Central Texans, and they are ready to hook you up as well. Home theater, man cave, she shed, whatever it is, call them 255-8678, avconsultations.com. It is our man, Tom McKay. That's a good dude right there. And he will hook you up with everything that you need for your home theater or home visual and audio systems. All right, Bobby, to the 500. We were talking about all the, Blaney's coming from the back. Joey Logano. This is what's interesting to me is it really seems like we've talked about the new Ford Mustang Dark Horse. That son of a gun, pretty good by itself. Looks like the Toyotas are really good in a pack, although when we got done with practice on Friday, which was the last practice they get, they're going to the track tomorrow. I mean, they roll off the grid and go racing. There's no impromptu practice. The Fords and the Toyotas is starting lineup. It's Logano, McDowell. Then you got Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell. So 2 Fords and 2 Toyotas are going to bring us down to the start of the 6th annual?
66, I think.
Daytona 500. Your thoughts here as you get some team racing that's supposed to happen. Good thing Gus Dean's not in this race.
Yeah, no kidding. I think that the way this is going to shake out is you have Jim Campbell has strict Chevrolet orders.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter. It does, as long as the Chevrolet wins, don't help a Ford, don't help a Toyota, help a Chevrolet win the race. Ford's the same way. Toyota's the same way. I think that the Toyotas have a little bit of advantage in the speed department. I think the Mustang was lights out before they did the aero changes from the package at Phoenix when they did the testing at Phoenix a while back with the new Dark Horse Mustang. But it's shown to be single car speed. It was okay. I think all these, once you get into race conditions, I think that, the way that the Chevrolets were, they're a little bit down. Chevy's going to be the talking point towards the middle part of 2024 because of what the hell they're going to do with 2025 and what model they're going to run.
Cadillac.
Probably going to be Cadillac.
Oh my God. I can't wait for that, dude. Oh man.
The problem is they're going to have to figure out what they're going to have to run in supercars. There's such a correlation between supercars in Australia and cup cars and NASCAR in America. Yeah. They even brought the supercars. They brought a Camaro and they brought a Mustang over from Australia up to Charlotte to the wind tunnel that NASCAR owns to do testing to see to do a balance of performance test, an aero test. And they made a lot of changes. So, but I think that once you get into race conditions, it's every man for himself. When it comes down to it, I think you'll see teams to a certain extent. I mean, Penske's got a really good lineup there. You got his 3 cars. You got the number 4 car with the 21 of the Wood brothers. That gives you a 4-car team. You throw in the 3 Front Row Motorsports. That's 7. Mm-hmm. Hell, that's not how many Toyotas got total. It's I think they got 9 now with Joan, maybe 10 if you count Jimmy Johnson. But you got Roger Penske with 7, and you got Toyota with 9. I mean, that's going to even out in the gunfight a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it's a good thing for Toyota because where Toyota has been in trouble in some of these, in these big track races is the strength in numbers. I mean, they haven't had it. So now you add a little bit more there. And the thing is, I mean, we've talked about it so many different times on these shows is to where you get into this race and you're going to see names at the front of this race tomorrow that you may not be accustomed to. I mean, you're thinking, we can talk about Logano, we can talk about Kyle Busch, we can talk about all of these guys, Kyle Larson. I mean, all the household names of NASCAR that we bring about, Martin Truex, Wags guy. I mean, we can talk about all these dudes, but tomorrow you're going to see Austin Cindric shouldn't be a name that you don't know. He's a Daytona 500 winner, but you're going to see John Hunter Nemechek. You're going to see Harrison Burton. I mean, Ricky Stenhouse is another one that he has also won this race. Defending champion, I guess, isn't he?
Defending champion.
Mean, yeah. So you're going to see all these different names as to where, how do you keep your nose clean? And I think one thing that is going to be pretty cool tomorrow, I think when we get into that first race with the Xfinity race, man, that's going to be a green ass racetrack, dude. There's been so much water, the moisture that's been on the racetrack, that's been washed off of the racetrack. And these guys like, all right. And honestly, I mean, the Xfinity race may be the best one of the weekend because I think the Xfinity series to me at the moment is kind of the one that is kind of stealing the show because what do you think of them trucks on Friday night, my man?
Well, the truck race is better than the ARCA race. It didn't set the standards very high. Judge it over the ARCA race, but damn.
and speaking of mad drivers, we do a little segment on Chaos Theory on Wednesdays that we call, I'm not going to talk about it, but one of the great up-and-coming female drivers is a young lady named Toni Breidinger. Look her up. She was a little irritated
Victoria's Secret model.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret model.
And a runway model with that.
And a runway model. She's tall. She's a beautiful that's a beautiful young lady. A little pissed off after her race on
Clear
Friday.
themselves down. I mean, I did the entire truck race. People were very aggressive, but I don't know. I mean, Gus is supposed to have the most experience here. He's supposed to be the veteran of the team, but I don't know. I have no idea what he was doing. It was a stupid move.
Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Full time in the season. Gus is just pulling up for a couple of races because his dad is riding the truck. So it's just frustrating that he has a lack of respect for. I mean, he wrecked a few other people. I was talking to one of the guys in the ambulance, and I mean, everybody worked so hard to get here. So for him to do that on lap 3, I don't even know why he was going 3 wide. I mean, I don't know why he would leave me in the middle in the first place. It's a different conversation, but I don't know. Maybe I want for Billy to have.
Lady can drive. I know there's a lot of attention to Haley Deegan, which she can drive as well. But that youngster right there, well, she's 24. I mean, that lady right there, man.
Well, for you, that's a youngster.
yeah, no shit. They're all young. They could be 40. Hell, you're a youngster to me, for crying out loud. So now this, as we get back to the 500, with it going to Monday, with the change right there, these guys got a lot of time to think this thing over. And it's got to suck for them because I've got Big Fox on over here and they're having to do media stuff and they're sitting here and folks are asking them over and over, well, what do you do now? Or, you got all day to think about this again. And Bobby, that race is late. A lot of times when you get a reschedule race, it's like 11 a.m. They got all fucking afternoon to think about what they're going to do at the start of this race.
Well, I think like I said, everybody knew it was going to be a doubleheader on Monday. When you watch the weather from Monday, you and I have been talking about it since the last revved up live cast.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was going to be a race on Monday. Yeah, was there a small window? Was there a small hope? Yeah. But as the week rolled on and you watch these future forecasts, I'm not talking about the ones at the Weather Channel. I'm talking about the ones you can look up for the local ones, right? They kept showing it just being train after train after train of rain. You knew it was going to be a doubleheader on Monday. You just didn't know how crazy it was going to get. But to me, I think it actually starting too early. I would have started at 5 Eastern, maybe 6. Let that thing run all night long in the Monday Night Football from about 6 o'clock to about 10:30. That's the perfect primetime window for the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
And not unprecedented. Not unprecedented.
No. I mean, it's happened before.
The year they hit the jet dryer was a Monday night race.
And, it may end up that way. I mean, I haven't looked at the forecast for tomorrow. At this point, I don't care. It's like, we just need to get this race in. I mean, I would love that. I mean, I would love it to be into a night race like that. And there's a lot of contenders in this race. And this is actually, everyone's a contender in this race. I mean, honestly, that's the beauty, yet at the same time detrimental to these races, is that everyone's a contender and everyone is so vulnerable to get themselves in a spot to where they could get tore up and you're going to get wrecked. And it's kind of one of those things where you're going to wait for it to happen. But I do think kind of the storylines going in. I mean, who's going to rebound? I do think I'm very interested to see the team concept right there, because the team order is obviously going to be in place. Who's going to be the better OEM as we start this thing off, and how does that change as the race continues to progress? Because it's going to go later into the afternoon, I guess, as it would be, and I've got my eye on Brad Keselowski, dude. I know that's your guy, but I really think that this year for the 6, I think with the rebound that we saw there with RFK and with these Fords that appear really, really strong, and the 2 that I'm really honed in on, they're starting side by side. It's him and Ty Gibbs. And you've got the polar opposites right there, where you've got now the grizzled veteran in Keselowski, and you've got Ty Gibbs, who has matured himself in such a really, I mean, it seems respectable way. I mean, those dudes are starting side by side, and they may be the ones battling for the Harley J. Earl Trophy here at the end of this thing.
Well, in my mind, the Daytona, it sounds cliche-ish, whatever the hell. Sounds like a cliche.
Oh, there's that Brooks and Dunn. That's cliche-ish.
Cliche-ish, yeah. I have to tell you, they messed up a couple of lines too in the songs too. It's kind of funny.
Hardworking man, or what's that one song? I'm a hardworking man. That one. You sang that one too much, my man. That one.
I did that one, and My Maria got a little too high up on the Maria there for a little bit last night. The front row, the Daytona, to win the Daytona 500, you got to go through that front row. Joey Logano is like a massive, massive junkyard dog. You go after him, he will bite you.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter the place. You go after him, he's going to bite you.
And he don't care who you are.
No, he does not. Michael McDowell is one hell of a speedway racer. I don't think they've had this much momentum at front row in the history of that program. They're now teamed up with Team Penske. They're now tier 1 status with Ford with factory support. He got an actual real win where he went out and stomped their ass at Indianapolis last year on the road course. Qualified second, best qualifying effort at Daytona ever for him. That front row is going to be hard to beat tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. It is. And that's one of the questions that Wags was talking about. Betting odds. If you're going to bet this thing, you can take a look right now. If you look at the odds right now, it's Denny Hamlin. And he's won 3 of these bad boys.
Yeah, 3 out of the last 5 or 4 out of the last 3 out of the last 6, something like that.
And he rolls off 8th. And after somebody was mentioning earlier, they were talking about the NASCAR. I think it was Smash, that NASCAR needs to do a Netflix thing. They got it. It's full throttle. Go watch it. It's really good. But betting odds right now, you got Denny Hamlin right there at plus 800. Then you got Joey Logano at plus 900, Kyle Busch plus 1,000, and then Brad at plus 1,200. So depending how you want to bet that right there, and like we're talking about, you need to go through that list because it may not be one of those guys. I mean, this is where there's been a lot of guys that have only won one race, and it's the 500. And that's what you get in an event like this.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, I think that because when I go to do my NASCAR fantasy lineup, which there's still time left to join and set your fantasy lineup for the Revved Up Nation NASCAR Fantasy League via NASCAR.com, I just do like some kind of random dumbass thing like numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Because it doesn't matter. Later on in the season, you're like when we go to a plate track, you know who's going to be strong, you know who's going to be a little bit better of a player. So I'm a little bit more strategic there. When it comes to the 500, I'm just like 8, 10, 12, 22, you just randomly pick it because that's all you can do for the first race of the year. Is, you could go through, I could say, okay, let me use a Joey Logano. Let me use a 34 Michael McDowell. Let me use a Keselowski. Let me use a Denny Hamlin. Let me use some of those guys. But then that's an extra use that's just going to get flushed down the toilet. Because it's usually not a favorite that wins the race.
That's right. Yeah. It's usually not. And kind of the stat right there, if you want to throw some money down on Logano, you have not had a pole winner win the 500 since 2000 with Dale Jarrett. So even though Logano is, but if anyone can break a streak, it's fucking Joey Logano. Because like you said, it's so funny. The funny thing with Logano is you see him and people laugh at the whole, whatever. But like you said, you put that helmet on that dude and he puts his glasses on because he wears glasses when he races. My God, that fucking dude's out of control. He wrecked his mom. I know that's like an old cliche to use your word, but he is. I mean, that's the way that dude races. He is.
Yeah.
Man.
You pop him, he will pop you back. He will pop you back with no remorse.
Yes, absolutely. And he's going to do it when you least expect it. I mean, if you want to go, speaking of that, we're talking about wagers over here, talking about Hamlin and all the favorites right there. If you want to bet on the 500, you can't do it at BetUS. You can't actually bet the winner. What you can do is you can bet on BetUS. You can bet some futures where you can actually go in and maybe bet your NASCAR champion for 2024. You can do that at BetUS. And we tell you to go there right now. Football's over, like I was talking about with AV consultations, but you still got NBA, NHL, NASCAR. There are other bets that you can do at BetUS. BetUS is the best online sportsbook and casino out there. Not going to find anything better. Game lines, props, over, unders, all of that at BetUS. Just dive in there, take a look, shop around, $50 deposit, and you are off and rolling. If you're checking out Revved Up, we'll say Revved Up right here on the YouTube feed. Drop down below to the video description. Click that. It's going to take you there. If you happen to be checking this out on the live free Texas Sports Unfiltered app, explore our socials. click there at BetUS, and it'll take you there, and you can set up your account. It is BetUS. Once again, the best place to bet on sports is BetUS. You just can't bet the winner of the race tomorrow there because NASCAR has their own thing. And that's where NASCAR is different. It's like,
very particular about their gambler of choice. Probably MBM, probably MGM for a corporate sponsor, my guess.
Yeah,
that's where I did my sports betting for Bristol.
Yeah, I know who it is. I'm not going to say it, but anyway, they've got their own thing, and that's great. That's what NASCAR does. So for this, Bobby, just a couple of minutes left here as we get ready to dive in. We're supposed to be all fired up right now, getting set to go, but I mean, we've got over 24 hours before we drop the green flag on the Great American Race. So I think probably the best advice that we can give someone that's going to turn that race on tomorrow, actually both races, whether it's the early Xfinity race or the 500, turn that shit on. Do yourself, if you're new to racing, do a little bit of NASCAR exploring, figure out some of these drivers. And once you consume all of that, expect the unexpected, because that's what you get at the Daytona 500.
Well, I think if you start with the Xfinity race, you might want to make yourself some mimosas, or at least start drinking you some orange juice or some kiwi juice if you have it. Mainly because every time you hear the word SVG or Shane Van Gisbergen, take yourself a shot. Because as long as he's in that race tomorrow, that's all they're going to talk about, which is fine. He deserves it. That's cool as hell what he's doing. I think he's going to do better than Ambrose did. That, in my mind, I think because he's doing it right with the Xfinity Series first, then there's some limited starts in the Cup Series. So every time you hear the word SVG, take yourself a shot.
Yeah. I got to tell you, and again, this is a 500, more centric 500 show that we're talking about, but to me, the Xfinity Series is one that's good, man. Like I talked about, to me, that car, I mean, I've talked to a couple of guys that race Xfinity cars last year at COTA, and they're like, this is the fucking best car to drive. The trucks wreck because they don't have any horsepower. You got guys running all over each other. You sit there and you hit the gas and don't go anywhere. It's like when you're trying to get on
Elmore motors suck.
I'm a crate motor guy, but different ones. It's like when you're trying to get on the freeway and you sit there in your passenger car and you hit the gas and you're trying to go, and it's just sitting there, shifting gears. That's what the trucks do. Yes, I know the youngsters in the truck series, that's a big part of the problem, but the whole respect thing and all of that, but the whole thing is they don't fucking go anywhere. They don't go. And I think that is why when they come to COTA, and our man Bailey Curry, Austin Texan, will be in that race in the 41 truck. I think that's where they're cooler on the road course, because that's where you can utilize gears and kind of try to get more power to the ground on the trucks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think definitely so. So I think the Xfinity car has found itself a niche, kind of right there in the middle, right? And a lot of people like it. They just like it because of the position of the door number. Because it looks a little old school. I read that on the internet. That's why they like the Xfinity Series, because the door number's in the right spot, right? So I think that's got a chance to be a hell of a race. As far as the Cup race goes, give me either guy on the front row. Plus my dark horse would be the 6 card, like always, as my man Brad Keselowski goes for win number 1 in the Great American Race.
Yeah, I really got a good feeling about Brad, like I was talking about. I think it's his time. And the other thing, if you're new to this, Kyle Busch has never won this race. And that's Brad Keselowski has never won this race. So the more that you learn about these drivers, the names, the household names that you're going to find right here, there's a lot of guys. It took Dale Earnhardt 20 years, took Darrell Waltrip 17, and now you got 2 guys that are chasing that elusive Harley J. Earl trophy as well. And might be one of those guys. Kyle Busch wins it. NASCAR Nation goes crazy, dude.
I think it's one of those things that of the active champions still racing right now, former Cup Series champions, only one of them has a Daytona 500 win, and that's Joey Logano.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jimmy Johnson.
Full-time active. All right,
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Watch that 84. Watch that 84. It's got a pretty color to it. Petty blue on a Toyota.
Never thought I'd see that.
Good stuff. All right. Once again, a recap. It's tomorrow, 10 a.m. And by the way, programming note, tomorrow, President's Day, no 8 to 5 programming like we always have on Texas Sports Unfiltered. all the shows, Bucky and BK, Chaos Theory, the midday show, Chip and Zay, Longhorn Misfits, all of that off tomorrow for President's Day. So if you're looking for maybe a race recap, I'm not sure what we're doing with the Revved Up live cast tomorrow, since this kind of all shifted things around. That's RevvedUpSportsShow.com and Revved Up Sports Show on Facebook. We'll figure that part out. But don't be looking for your TSU stuff tomorrow unless something changes. Check the socials. All that'll be there. 10 a.m. you get the Xfinity race, and then what did we say? 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock on Fox.
3 o'clock Central on Fox. Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Bobby, this is fun, dude. I like that we have a place to talk NASCAR, because Lord knows our local people don't give a damn about it.
No, it's fun. I appreciate the invite with BK and you to come on and talk some mainstream NASCAR stuff, because, like you said, our local heroes, while they are heroes in the local level, they just sometimes don't give a damn about the Cup Series and the upper epsilon of NASCAR and Formula One and stuff like that. So it's cool. I have a good time like always, and look forward to a few more.
Tune in for another show, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking about F1 right now. If you check out the Revved Up livecast, you probably already know. And if you're an F1 fan, you probably don't want to think what or hear what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, they thought you were negative about Vegas.
Absolutely. Thank you all for checking in. Thank you, Adam Wagner and Justin Smash Simmons, for handing this over to us. Thank you, Brad Kellner, for helping put this together with us. Thanks to the Covert BK folks as well. And, of course, BetUS and Audio Visual Consultations. Great American Race happening tomorrow. It's rescheduled. Bobby Chaffee. I'm Rodney Rodriguez. A little revved up action happening. Tune in. We'll do it again soon. You guys enjoy the 500 tomorrow.